Okay, welcome everybody to this brand new episode of the Texture Pop. I am your fill-in host this week, Brandon Carey. Joining me as always is my friend Chris Charia.
Sam won't be here for another half hour.
Joining me is my friend Chris Charia.
Hype.
And G Squared.
Hello.
As Chris just said, Sam will be has his little computer trouble right now, so he won't be here for a while.
He'll be joining us fashionably late.
So let's get to the show. I think it's best that we start with viewer questions. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, sure. That's usually a good way to start it.
We have one email this week from Daniel Z.
Oh, hey, Daniel.
Hi, diddly ho, neighborinos.
Oh, Flanders.
Thanks for the great responses last episode. I own or played a lot of the games mentioned if you'll need to finish them now. I started Wild Arms as a kid and am currently on Wild Arms 2 and started playing Manichemia back when it first came out. If my memory card wouldn't have corrupted, I probably would have played more of them, but near the end of the game, Wild Arms Alter Code F save got erased along Manichemia, as well as my complete save files for Dragon Quest VIII, Rogue Galaxy, and both Kingdom Hearts. I did start playing Mirror's Edge again, since I got it for free from that EA weekend, and got past the midway point where it gets really annoying. I will say that I thoroughly enjoyed slide kicking and then punching people in the nard to take them down. My question this week is, what would be some of your favorite games' art design? I would say mine is Okami and Goemon DS, as both use Japanese watercolor style, sumie, extremely well. I also like how both games use the art style and the gameplay by allowing it to interact with brushstrokes. I also feel that CyberConnect 2 does some really impressive work too, especially on Solo Torobo, which has some great character designs and very detailed environments and backdrops, especially for a DS game. Vanillaware and George Kamatani's artwork are great as well, same for Ni no Kuni and Studio Ghibli. I could go on, but looking forward to hearing everyone's responses.
I think right off the top of my head, as I've been recently playing Guilty Gear Xrd, yeah, that fucking game. That's... If you've seen any video or footage of the game, because screenshots don't do it justice, you have to see that game in motion because of the crazy-ass trick they have done of like, oh, it's 2D sprites? No, those are 3D character models. Like, that can't fucking be. And it's like, oh yeah, look at the camera rotate around them. Holy shit! Yeah, that's some really good frickin' art design right there. The fact that they use the idea of... Because I'm pretty sure on some of those 3D character models, they're basically leaving out frames of animation to make it look more like a hand-drawn sprite.
Yeah.
It's...
A lot of those hand-drawn fighting games look really good. Like Persona 4 Arena looks good. I've seen a bit of BlazBlue, and that looks pretty good. They're all really top-notch.
Garrett, what about you?
I don't know.
Something that had a really good art style.
I mean, Daniel already mentioned Okami and the Vanillaware art style, so that's kind of like taking the top two out of the equation already.
Yeah, basically.
I think... what about Killer 7?
I didn't hear that.
Killer 7?
Killer 7.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Killer 7, like, no game looked like that anymore, even though it's cel-shaded. Because I was going to say Borderlands, but then I thought, you know what, every game, even fucking Dead Island is doing that now. So, Killer 7, though, was the first game I saw with cel-shading, and it's the most cel-shaded game. I don't think any other game has done anything like that. So, Okami's a good pick, but because it's already picked, I'll go with Killer 7.
And, this probably seems like a bit of a cop-out coming from me, but I do think that Atlas games do have a pretty good art style. It's pretty distinctive, and it does kind of work well for the kind of low-budget games that they're going for. Other than that, I guess since I've been playing Kingdom Hearts lately, that would probably be another good answer. I've always liked the art style of the Kingdom Hearts franchise.
Yeah, I mean, the way they make it work of, like, having Disney characters in the same visual
how they
vicinity.
kind of merge the Disney style with the classic Final Fantasy style when they made a lot of the characters.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
But then they threw zippers on every damn thing, and...
Yes, Nomura and his zipper fetish. It's weird. Okay, that was it for our viewer question. Next up is...
And remember, folks, if you want to send a question to us, you can email us at thetexturepop@gmail.com.
Or if you have anything you want us to know, we'd be interested in that as well.
Like comments.
Oh yeah, especially comments. We don't get a lot of those at all. Anyway, enough of the depressing stuff. On to gamer news. So, any stories come up this week that you guys have any interest in?
AGDQ. That's pretty much been it. There's been some fascinating stuff happening out of that, especially somebody frickin' proposed during that event. Like, live on Twitch and everything.
I saw that.
That's great.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Legitimately great, not sarcastic. I meant that like sincerely.
Yeah, it was pretty weird. I mean, no one was expecting that, and it's something to propose in front of what was probably like 150,000 people viewing it.
On the other hand, if she had said no, that would have been the saddest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Ooh, yeah. Streamed in front of everybody.
In front of the entire world.
Basically.
Yeah. But still, I'm probably gonna end up catching up on the clips. I hear they're recording everything, so
yes.
I haven't been watching it, so I'll just probably just browse the streams of what I found most interesting after the fact.
Yeah, by the time this is posted, it'll be done. Since the last day, I think it's Sunday. Well, yeah.
That's how I view all my content nowadays. I just watch it after it's broadcast because it's just that much more convenient for me.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
But I hear they've raised a shit ton of money.
Oh yeah, oh man, I can't remember what it was last time, but it was. It probably was close to $1 million, if not that. But
Damn.
Which is what they're shooting for. But I mean, like hundreds of thousands of dollars going to really good causes. So, props. I don't think anything else really relevant has gone on, like news-wise, though. It's still.
I beg to differ.
What? I must have forgot.
I found a couple of interesting stories I want to talk about. One Kingdom Hearts related, since that's pretty much what's been on my mind all week. There is a story going around that the voice actor for Goofy has announced that has accidentally leaked that Kingdom Hearts 3 is supposed to be coming out this year.
That's right, and I think they had an update to that where he kind of slipped.
Yeah.
And yeah, just like, wow.
Which is very, very unexpected for a lot of the fans, because, Square Enix is known for announcing a game and then not releasing it until 5 years after the fact.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, people essentially have gone the whole generation of the PS3 without seeing the third Kingdom Hearts game, which obviously, has some people a little miffed.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I mean, they've been hyping up shit that just ended up having to be recanceled or something. And I think it's a good idea that Square finally decides to just keep their mouth shut unless they've got something substantial to show.
It's about time.
Yeah, whereas, like, hey, here's Versus 13, and then that had to change.
But, I mean, if it does come out this year, I'll be excited for it, although I wouldn't mind if it took their time, because at this point, I've already waited so many years for Kingdom Hearts 3 that one more year really is not going to be that big a deal.
Yeah. So, who knows? I mean, yeah, we'll see. I mean, and that's also, the precedent of when you have people that aren't really directly tied into the development, like voice actors, that, kind of mention some stuff here and there. It's one of those things, like, you kind of wonder how...
You have to take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what they know, which is always subject to change if the people in charge decide, never mind.
It's kind of like when they had, like, like actors in movies, like Vin Diesel would announce some shit on his Facebook page or whatever. Like, when he was... I think he was teasing the idea of him being Groot before Guardians of the Galaxy was kind of out in the open. And he's kind of doing the same thing now, with. It doesn't even seem like a surprise anymore that he's kind of teasing the idea that he would be in Humans, which is another Marvel.
Although, if this is true, it would be nice that Square Enix finally got a little self-aware and said they should stop announcing things 5 years before they're actually ever even close to finished with it.
Yeah. I still remember way back before FF12 happened, they were like, info for Final Fantasy 12 coming this year, and it's like you're teasing when info is going to come out for something. Like,
oh yeah,
really?
I remember I saw an ad for a world trailer premiere of a Terminator movie.
Yeah.
It's like, when do we advertise advertisements?
Yeah, and that's kind of what Marvel, getting back to Marvel again, that's what they've been doing now, where it's like, you'll see shit on the internet for it's like, expect the trailer this Tuesday, like, it's like you're teasing a teaser.
I know. And going back to Square Enix, apparently, if this is true, they've been lying for a very long time, because apparently I've heard rumors this has actually been in development for like 4 or 5 years now. Kingdom Hearts 3.
That's another one of those things where you kind of question. It's like, what all does that mean? I mean, and granted, we hear like stuff has been in development. That could mean a lot of shit. Of programming may not have even happened until like 2 years later. And again, this is all
rumors. None of this is confirmed. So if it's not true, don't blame me. But if that is true, that means they've been just like lying, just so their fans didn't get their hopes up for years, which is honestly probably for the best. And aside from that, I have 2 more stories I'd like to talk about. Let's see here. The first one is that Elder Scrolls Online is rumored to be going free to play soon.
I heard about this
because the reason people suspect this is because they've recently taken off their option to subscribe for 6 months on their website, or is it in the game? I'm not entirely sure.
I want to say it's probably one or the other, if not both.
Yeah, but they used to offer an option that you can get a 6-month subscription for X amount of dollars. Now they've taken that option off completely. You cannot use that option at all.
And their reasoning for saying it was that people weren't really showing interest. That people either preferred the 1 month or 3 month subscription.
Yeah. And again, considering the game we're talking about, that would also make sense.
Yeah, because, I mean, the whole idea is that if you subscribe more months, like if you get a 6-month subscription, that's a better value than going 1 month or even 3 months. But
yeah,
at the same time, it's like you almost feel like you're obligated to play the game then.
Again, for a lot of people are just not thinking if it's going to go free to play, but when, and this might finally be the when.
This goes back all the way to what I like to call the Jeff Gertzman theory, is there's probably a fucking graph somewhere in the offices of people who make, whatever studio that has the MMO going. I have this graph and it says, like, okay, once this line intersects this line, we got to go free to play.
I was talking with some friends the other day about this very story, and I'm not really even convinced the subscription model is going to work that well anymore. Like, just as a general model for MMOs.
Yeah, I mean, World of Warcraft, again, that seems to be the one thing that seems to get away with it. But
and EVE, but the reason those two can get away with it is because they've had such large communities for such a long time that those are mostly legacy subscriptions at this point.
And EVE Online is a totally different animal from anything else that's out there.
Yeah.
It is. I could spend this whole podcast talking about some of the crazy shit that goes on with people who take EVE seriously, but I would rather not, but still.
Don't they spend like hundreds of thousands of dollars?
Yeah, so at that point you might as well just keep playing, because at that point you're literally losing out on lots of money you've already spent.
It is super fucked up with just the way the economy works in that game. But back on point of making stuff free to going with a free to play model, it was just super gross how. I mean, nowadays, the idea of paying $60 for a game and then continuing to pay a subscription for that, I understand why that exists. But the idea of you're playing a game on a server with hundreds of, if not thousands of other people at the same time, that's not really that big of an idea anymore.
the last story I want to talk about is that PS Now has finally announced its plan for how it's going to be implemented on the PS4. The way it's working is basically that they used to do it such that when you bought an individual game, you could rent it for from 1 to 90 days, and there would be a fee for each length of time you bought. Of course, the problem with this is that oftentimes, like in the case of specifically in Final Fantasy 13-2, if you bought the game off the store, you could often get it cheaper than if you had rented it for 90 days on PlayStation Now, so you really had no reason to rent it that long. Instead, they're doing a subscription service where you pay, I think it's $15 for one, or it might be $20 for 1 month and $45 for 3 months of subscription, so that you can get as many games on PS Now as you like for the duration of your subscription. So yeah, with the PS Now that they've released, it's a lot more lucrative theoretically than it used to be.
Oh, for the idea of streaming games, or
yeah. Because, like I was saying earlier, like in certain cases in the old model where you pay up for one game for 1 to 90 days, depending on how expensive how much money you want to pay for that rental, you could really get gyps. For example, in 13-2 for Final Fantasy, it would cost you $15 to flat out buy the game from the PS Store, but $30 to rent it for 90 days on PlayStation Now.
I mean, that, and you're also competing against something like, say, GameFly.
Yeah.
Which, some people, it's like if they've had their GameFly subscription and they love it, they would probably prefer that, especially with the idea, I mean, streaming a game can work in some cases. Would I ever want to stream a fighting game? Fuck no. No.
Just because of button input lag.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the reasons why you don't see wireless arcade controllers. Those things are made always wired for a good reason, and that is simply because of input lag. People take that shit very seriously. So, I mean, and that's the thing with streaming. Streaming is not a bad idea. It's just there are a number of other things beyond the gaming industry's control,
and not to mention our infrastructure.
Yeah, and that's basically what I was going to mention. There are a number of things beyond the gaming industry's control that make streaming not so great.
Like in Europe, it might not be so bad, but in the U.S., our infrastructure is shit.
Yep, that is very true.
You really would not be able to do much streaming for very long, just because we don't have the faculties to have that many people doing that.
And I know we have talked about that at length on a number of episodes. But just to kind of reiterate is the fact that the infrastructure in America is not that good when compared to how it is in other foreign countries. And you could probably go to Google and look the info up yourself if you really wanted to get in depth to this, especially because this is really us looking at some of this shit from face value.
And there are a number of reasons why that's the case. It's just those are too numerous to talk about in the podcast.
Yes. So is that it for news? Anything else going on?
Yeah, unless you have anything else to comment on the subscription service, just in general.
I mean, and that was something way back when Sony bought Gaikai. That was something that people were kind of expecting to see, and I can't help but feel that it's weird. I mean, because the main reason for this existing was backwards compatibility with PS3 games was just not going to happen.
And I understand that was not going to happen, even though that would be the preferred option. I think in everybody's point of view.
Yeah, but the reason I think it's kind of funny is that this basically means that they have to have a server that runs these cell processor games somewhere for all this shit. That's nuts.
Basically, they have a bunch of servers playing PS3, PS2, and PS1 games.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be the other thing. I mean, kind of off bat, but is the thing I wonder of how long PS3s are going to be sold, because we all remember PS2s were still being made until the day, I think it was only 2 years ago.
Relatively recently when they stopped selling those.
I think it was only 2 years ago when Sony announced that PS2s were discontinued. I might be wrong, but I remember that being a thing.
That sounds right.
Yep. So PS3s could probably still be sold for quite a while and is probably fairly cheap. So,
Yeah.
and I would prefer
about
that.
$200 right now, or something along those lines. Maybe $250.
Yeah, I think if a couple years down the road, if you still wanted to play PS3 games, me personally, I'd probably flat out buy a PS3 as opposed to a subscription streaming service. So,
and depending on how many games you want to play, that's probably over the long run cheaper than PS Now.
Possibly. Garrett, you had anything to add, or?
In news, I've got a couple of stories. I wasn't sure if we could.
Yes.
Okay. One of them's League of Legends related, and then the other one is something I read on Kotaku. Something on Kotaku is not only is there a new PSP game coming out in 2015.
I heard about this.
How weird is that? But also the PS Vita is going to be having so many games this year that it is actually going to be getting the most games than any other console.
That doesn't surprise me, and the reason I say that is because they can justify those small minis, like those little cheap $10 games that they sell on the PS Store all the time. They can make those count as technically a game on PS Vita. That's not technically surprising. The question is whether or not how many of those will actually be legitimate good games to play.
Worth buying. And then the other one's League.
Well, hang on. Before you get to that, I wanted to ask, what is the deal with this PSP game that's being made?
I think it's like an RPG. I didn't really look into it. I didn't really look into too much of what it was about. I just read it on Kotaku, and I was like, no way. What it looked like was one of those medieval JRPG kind of things.
I think that was the case, because I remember hearing about this. I'm just going to Google it real quick.
There's a PSP game coming out.
Shame it's just an RPG, not an actual medieval game, because that would be great.
Yeah, I think it's an RPG, and I think it was a JRPG. Is that I don't know though.
Yeah, and this is not some homebrew shit like Battle Kid on fucking Nintendo like 20 years after that thing. No, this is a game from Xseed. Who?
Yeah.
Oh right.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yep. And I'm actually pulling up the Kotaku article now. Yeah, this is a JRPG. I think it's a strategy JRPG. Brandish the Dark Revenant, an action RPG that will be out Tuesday as a $20 digital release for PSP. And by Tuesday, it's probably not far away. This is, yeah.
I mean, if it's XC, they're just translating basically a game that's already been developed.
Yeah, possibly. Like depending on.
No, that's how Xseed works. They don't actually make games. They find obscure games that would never have had a chance to make it to the States, and they translate them.
So I'd have to wonder if they would. I mean, because it's being sold. I mean, this isn't even getting a physical release. You can only buy it digitally, which kind of makes me wonder if they would put it up for Vita as well.
Well, any PSP game can be put on the Vita.
Yeah. So
any of them. So yeah, it'll be on the Vita store as well.
An action RPG, I'd check that out. XC does some good stuff.
Yeah.
But Garrett, you were mentioning you had a story about League of Legends.
Yes, because I love League of Legends.
Of course you do. You are expert.
I would have never known that.
Really? I have to make it more known. Anyway, so there is a new update going on right now, and the update features a nerf, a small update, and then a really weird one that I'd like to discuss and explain. So the nerf is a support who I think gets shit on way too much. Sona. Sona is a mute musician. She plays a piano, and her keys do different spells. Like she can heal people, she can make them faster, she can attack somebody, and then one of her other spells is she makes enemies stay in place for a few seconds. She stuns them.
Oh man.
Very, very useful. She is getting nerfed. Her abilities were changed to little area of effects that surround her. And all they would have to do to make her... And so people found her boring to play. You just kind of roll your face in the keyboard. People could easily make this... Riot could easily fix this. All they would have to do is make her area of effects placeable. Like, there's a character named Ziggs, and one of his abilities is he throws down mines. Or he throws on like little bombs that act as mines. And how it works is you have a circle around him, and then a circle inside that circle, and you place wherever you place the circle, like the big circle surrounding him.
It's like circleception.
Yeah, it's the circle that states like, okay, this is where you can place the bombs. You can't go any further than this. And then the other circle is this is where the bombs are going to go. And that's all you'd have to do. Like what for Persona, do that, and then have the enemies like she can drop it on somebody, or someone can run through it. Like make an interactable area of effect that she can actually place rather than just push the button and it appears around her. So she wouldn't be boring. And then on top of that, don't nerf her, because now it's like a smaller radius. You have to be up somebody's ass in order for the thing to take effect.
And it sounds like that'd be kind of damning, simply because whether or not, like, if that character can sustain being up close to dudes, like...
Yeah, and she's pretty squishy. A really big thing is she's not played that often, so why they're nerfing her, why they're making her even less likely to be played, I guess they just hate her. They're like, why the fuck did we create this character?
I don't know. I mean, one of the things I honestly do wonder when it comes to games like this is, like, how often do the developers continue to test out a character, or how much, like, because I would not be surprised if there are some people whose jobs is just continuously collecting data from various characters.
Given that it's League of Legends talking about, I guarantee you that since that's pretty much the only thing that studio was really does, and they do it very well, that's probably all they do in their time is just making sure that game is top notch.
Yeah, they're the game people whose job is just simply balancing, and that is it. Like,
and yeah, they balance people, and then they'll do something really old. Like once all that's done, they go, oh, okay, time to make something that's not a whole big deal, but it needed to be done. And they'll do like visual updates and stuff like that, and that's cool. Like a character will have a new model and stuff like that. One of the new ones is Alistair. Alistair is this big bull character, and they've completely changed his look. And then on top of that, now they changed a little thing. It was a character named Tristana. They changed her. They changed her ability icons, like the little abilities on her QR or QWER. Those look different. But the big change that I really want to talk about, they've added gates to the base. The base is it's the area. It's surrounded by turrets, and it's where you spawn, and it's where your minions spawn, and it's also where all your important stuff is.
Yeah.
And if the enemy gets into your base and blows up, your nexus, they win.
So what does a gate mean? Like,
well, here I'll get to that. They have a base has 3 openings. There's one in the middle. There's one on the top side, or top, or like left side, and then bot, which is the right side. And I know people are going to be like, no, it's top because it's top, and it's bot because it's bot. But I'm just trying to say, like,
this is sounding like there's a lot of
there are so many mechanics in this game, but so there's a opening at the top, bot, and mid, and those lead to the lanes. Now these gates are going to be there's going to be 2, and they're going to be in between mid and top. Like one's going to be in the middle of mid and top, and the other one's going to be in the middle of mid and bot. And they're going to be a gate. If it's on your gate or your gate, only you can pass through. And if it's on the enemy gate, you can interact with it. You can jump over it like a wall, though, but you can't pass through it or exit through it. So I don't know what I think the purpose is. There's a couple of purposes you can do with this. One of them is you can escape through your gate, and they can't follow you, and you can be like, "Oh, thank God, I barely got away." And there are a couple of points to this, and then one thing is they can easily jump over the wall and keep chasing you if they have flash or something like that.
I'm just still trying to wrap my head around all this. This just sounds like a fucking...
You see, now, Pete, there's no one in the world that actually wonders why I don't play MOBAs. But if there was, this would be it.
Oh my God, they're great though. Especially League. League's awesome.
League
and Smite. It's not that hard. It's just a game mechanic. It's like, okay, the base has an opening.
That sounds like a lot for someone to wrap their head around
I think it would make more sense if you actually played the game, though, because it's one thing to try to explain how something works. It's another when you see it in practice and how it's actually done. Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah, I can show you guys like Trick 2G or Double Lift or like a professional game League or playing and just how they play. But yeah, it's really cool how they're doing it, and I think it's a cool addition. I want to see how it works. I want to see an enemy like flash over the gate, thinking like, oh cool, I have distance now, and they like the enemy just walks through the gate, and there's absolutely no distance whatsoever. It's like, oh shit, that was stupid. So,
I'm sure dumb shit is bound to happen.
yeah, I can't wait to see like play of the day shit going on. People are like, what an idiot. It's gonna be funny. But yeah, so those are some big changes happening, and other than that, and the PSP Vita, I don't really have anything. I got into a discussion with a couple of people on why the Steam box is actually really cool, but that's not really news, so
we'll get to that.
Yeah.
All right. So now it's on to our actual sections. Garrett, what you did this week?
What have I done today?
Or this week?
Or this week.
Great thing. I've made it so I can actually fucking play Minecraft again.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
That's really nice. There was a video that talked about, it's like, open up your Wi-Fi and type in the password. Then after that, set the thing to 2256 or something like that.
Oh, man.
And, yeah, like, I had to dig in, and I had to
use
make
very
it...
technical terms here. I think thing is too complicated for viewers.
Okay, so what...
I'm kidding.
Oh, so what I had to do is I had to basically open up, like, my router on my computer and set it so it goes directly to Minecraft when I play, and I had to set up two.
Yeah, I know what that is. Like you had to set up like multiple openings through. Yeah,
it was like a DPS and an MTS or some shit.
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
I can't remember. Or like I can't remember. And I had to set that for Minecraft. It'll go to Minecraft. And then after that, I also had, for some reason, mods wouldn't work. And so what I also...
That's the best part.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm like, oh cool, I fixed it, so now I can go to I would open it up and it wouldn't go to a server. It would be like, can't connect to the server, sorry. And I thought it was Java, I thought it was my computer. I wasn't sure what was going on with it. Turns out it was just that, so I fixed that and I'm like, oh shit, I can actually connect to the servers now. But one of my friends wanted to play with mods. And so now I went to Forge, and that wouldn't work. What I ended up having to do was, it was because of my Java was too updated, so it wouldn't work. but
Fantastic.
it's like Java is it won't work with 8. But it will work with 7. So what I had to do is open up the settings and then copy Java 7 and replace that with 8 in the settings.
Yeah.
That's what it worked. It was an easy fix. So now I can finally play Minecraft again, and it won't be like last semester where everybody was playing Minecraft and they're like, "Yay, we're building giant dicks everywhere. Look at all the dongs." And they're like, and they were playing locally. They're like, "Garrett, play with us." And so I opened up Minecraft, and even though it was local, it wouldn't connect, and I couldn't do it. So everyone's playing Minecraft. I'm sitting there like, I guess I'll just watch you guys play.
Watch you guys build all these dicks. That just.
I'm gonna watch you guys build all these dongs out of wool.
Can I just say that it still blows my fucking mind that game runs on Java, of all things.
I know. It's like the AT&T of games.
I know.
Yeah, it's fucking weird, because considering the fact that I've taken classes, I've learned how to write stuff in Java. It is fucking ridiculous. And
it's easy, though. I mean,
it
is.
is.
The problem is that it's very inefficient.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is. But the fact that, like, I look at Minecraft, I was like, Minecraft is not what I think of when I think of shit made in Java.
Yeah.
And this is now something that runs on a 360, an Xbone, a PS4, a PS3.
You think of college-level projects, mostly.
Like,
yeah.
Holy shit. Like,
I'm like, god damn this.
And like I said, this runs on a PS4 now. Fucking, and Java was too up to date.
Yeah, like it's like oh man, your version of Java is really good, and we don't like that. So.
Actually, I should just rephrase that. It's more amazing that it runs on PS3. The fact that it can look at a cell processor and go, okay, like,
I can't imagine how much porting went into that.
Oh God, I don't know.
I can't possibly imagine.
It happened though.
It must have been loads of work.
Yeah, it took me a while. I actually thought, I was like, okay, so I cannot play Minecraft anymore, ever. And finally, I'm able to play again, and it's actually really shocking. So,
Congratulations.
Yeah, so I'm really happy. I'm like, holy shit, it actually works. So, yay! Honestly, every time someone's like, yeah, let's play Minecraft, I'm like, I hope you mean an Xbox, because that's all I can play it on. Yeah.
So what else to do?
What else was there? Played some League, I'm ranked. I was playing a lot of ranked, which everyone was telling me stay away from ranked. It is very, very toxic right now, because ranked is the area where everybody gives a shit.
Yep, ranked is horrible.
Yeah, ranked, everyone says, everyone's been telling me, and I knew this going in, it's obvious. It's like, ranked is where not tryhards, but ranked is, you go to bots to practice something, you go to norms to practice something against people, and people will just kind of fuck around. They'll be like, yeah, everybody mid. And you're like, no one's going top, jungle, bot, support. Everybody would go mid, and somehow win. They'd push mid. And you're like, oh, okay. And it was funny. And then ranked is where people take it seriously. They're like, okay, who's support? And then they do this, and if they lose, they're like, God damn it. And they'll yell at people for doing something wrong. And it's a little worrisome. And one of my friends was like, dude, it's so toxic. Stay away from ranked. It's like, nah, don't be a pussy. I'm like, if you fuck up and they yell at you, take your lumps, you probably deserve it. Don't fuck up.
No, they yell at you even when you don't deserve it.
And yeah, I ran into that. I was told to kill myself. I was told to kill myself and I was told to uninstall and kill myself. For the guy leading, we lost a game because we had a Cho'Gath who's a top laner or a jungler. He was top lane, he pushed out top nicely, and then he left top to go and get kills. And rather than stay and push out lane until we got to the enemy's base, just kept running around, going and trying to kill people, and I was like, and so their top laner kept pushing our base. He got our inhibitor before 20 minutes.
Wow.
I was like, okay. And then Cho'Gath was yelling at everyone else. And then I made a play. I accidentally hooked somebody and took his kill, and he told me to uninstall and kill myself. I was like, all right, pal.
I think people say that even when you win a game, and it's like,
yeah.
Congratulations, we won. Go uninstall and kill yourself, you fucker.
Yeah. It's. I actually laughed. I was like, that's funny, and someone else was like, that's so mean. Did you report him? I was like, yeah, fuck him. I thought it was funny. So I guess I just got jaded. But yeah. So other than that, hanging out with one of my friends. One of my friends called me up. He's tried absinthe recently.
I tried that in Fallout 3 once.
He's like, oh my god. Oh, by the way, I saw your articles up. But he's like, oh dude, yeah, fucking absinthe that changed your life. I'm like, oh, all right. But other than that, talking to my dad, we finally have a bag target so I can shoot my bow. And getting stuff ready for the next semester of college, which is going to be awesome. Other than that, nothing really going on.
I'm glad I don't have to worry about this year.
I'm in my last semester. Next semester will be my
doesn't it feel great?
It does.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I just really hope I don't fuck up. I have a 4.0 right now, and if I don't, I'm like,
oh, you got this. You fucking got this.
I don't like advice that I learned the hard way. It is perfectly okay to coast with a B.
Yep. So
my parents
4.0. I know it's tempting to want to keep that up, but it is perfectly okay. Go with the B.
I got B's in the summer, and I fucking made the dean's list. Explain that. So,
my lowest grade so far has been a C+, and I am totally content.
My parents are like, yeah, B's okay. Get an A, or you won't be able to get into a really good college. It's like,
oh
okay.
God,
they're lying.
Yeah,
Trust me, they're totally
that's
lying.
Bullshit.
He's like, you want to get into a really good college, you have to be a straight A student and absolutely make no mistakes whatsoever. I was like, oh,
that's a bunch of shit.
The funny thing is, a creeper just blew up. Sorry. The funny thing is, I actually got a really good. I kind of coasted by. I was doing.
For me, the B is the best compromise between studying hard and actually living your life in college. If you're going for an A, you are doing nothing but college work. And you will be drained, and you will hate yourself by the end.
I did, shit, I'm trying to think. But I did, there was a paper we had to do. We had to write down the rules to a game entirely, a board game. And it had to be at least 2 pages long. And I picked Monopoly because there's so many rules. And I wrote 2 pages. I did it that day, the day it was due.
Yeah,
and I got a 98 on it.
Yeah,
and then one of my friends also did it right before class started, and he got a 0 because he went to the website for Monopoly and just copied and pasted the rules.
Yeah,
and didn't think the teacher would notice. And the teacher goes, "I saw what you did there, wink." And he's like, "Motherfucker, he caught me." I was like, "And you got a 0, and you failed this class. Good job."
See, the thing with college essays is that if you plagiarize it, it'll be very obvious.
Yeah, especially.
But if you bullshit the night before, since they read so many essays, they're going to give you the A.
I know, like when school I was going to, my online classes, pretty much every one of them, basically for all our papers, they would send our papers through something called Turn It In, which is basically it's a website that will check to see how close your paper resembles other papers for plagiarism.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's really weird, but of course, all of mine, I wrote them all, so it's like, yeah, yours matches 0% of what we've got on file. It's like, okay, sure, great.
It's very simple. If you can Google it, they can Google it.
Mm-hmm.
It's really that simple. If you can Google the answer to your paper, they can too, so don't be stupid about it.
Yeah, and that was his thing. I was like, "Did you cheat?" And first he denied it. He was like, "No, no, of course not." And then I went to the website that the teacher linked, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, no, you did."
Second sin.
Yeah,
if you do cheat, they already know it when they're asking you. You might as well fess up.
Yeah.
They'll be a bit more lenient on you if you do. Not very much. Because plagiarism is still a massive offense, but they'll be a bit more understanding.
I actually I did it that day, but I did it several hours in advance. I was like, I'm gonna really I'm gonna really try my best with this, and I got it done in like 30 minutes. I just wrote down every rule I could. I tried making it coherent. Like the beginning is when you start, and the end is who the winner is and how it's determined. And I tried going I tried picturing this. Picture you're actually playing the game of Monopoly, and that's how you write the rules down. Like as things would happen, as things are happening. Like okay, this happens after you roll the dice, and then how what is the outcome? How is that determined? How would this proceed if this happened? And that was pretty much how I did it. And teachers were like, yeah, that was fucking awesome.
Yeah, here's a pro tip, kids, for all you college students out there. Your professor will probably be more lenient on you if you're getting near a due date and you don't have your fucking paper done. Just email them and say, hey, look, can I get an extension on time so I have more time to write this because I've been busy? 9 times out of 10, they'll be pretty cool with that and say...
You will be surprised how little shits they give you email them ahead of time.
Yeah, because I had to do that during summer when I had to write this big-ass paper, and I seriously, I had to do it... I got started on it the night before it was due, and it was like, I just don't have time for a number of reasons. And my professor was okay with it. So just do that. Don't think... well, I've only got one night to work on this. I'll just plagiarize something. No, don't do that. Just don't.
Like, if you just shoot them an email and ask for an extension, like Chris said, they don't give a shit 9 times out of 10.
Nope.
They will totally say, fine, whatever, just do it.
Even if you think your professor is like a big, quote-unquote, hard ass, just do it anyway. Just
Honestly, our first
Other
teacher
alternatives is to go to their office hours.
Yeah.
If you go with teachers' office hours, they suddenly love you.
Our first teacher is also our advisor. Really nice guy. Our second teacher was nice at times, then other times you were like, you're upset about something. yeah, it must have been like a bad day or something. And it was weird because he would really go on and off. Like something small would happen and he'd be like, I'm making a big fucking deal out of this. You're like, oh, okay. Like somebody was in class and then he said, I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. And he went to the bathroom, and then as he left, the teacher went and closed the door. And then the guy I guess finished, and he came back and tried opening the door, and it was locked, and the teacher's like, okay, roll call.
Oh, man.
I'm not kidding. And then he opens the door and goes, you were late while I did roll call, you're absent. And then let the guy sit down. I was like, oh.
Wow.
I was like, what?
Oh, wow, your college is nothing like mine, because in my college, most teachers don't even give a shit about attendance.
You
can skip all the class if you want. They don't give a fuck. But if you ask for help afterwards, they're going to give even less of a fuck.
Yeah, no, there was this one teacher. No other teacher I've had at this college has done that. This was the one guy. I was like, God damn! And like, the guy got up to go use the bathroom, and he like almost followed the guy out. And then as the guy left, and the teacher just closed the door. And then somebody went to go got up to let him in, and the teacher goes, no, sit down.
Oh,
I was like, Jesus.
I went to community college, which is, it's a lot of folks who are far older, or, people that are already raising families, or people who are, people that have to work jobs
people
and
your
stuff.
Age.
So, yes. Or older, but still. The fact is, like, it's not that our teachers don't give a shit where I went to, but they are more understanding, especially if you explain your situation to them of saying, hey, because I've seen people like come off the job to come in, or like people that have trouble finding a sitter or stuff like that. Like, I've seen that shit happen. So it's whoo, man. Anything else going on?
Other than, but then the last day of school, we were all taking a group picture, and the teacher went behind us. And as soon as the picture was taken, he tried solid snaking out of there. Like all hunched over and trying to move quickly. I was like, what the fuck was he doing? We look at the picture. He gave me and one of my friends bunny ears.
Wow.
Like was crouched behind us and he had his hands up. I was like, that's kind of funny.
That guy enjoys his job.
Yeah, I was like, that was funny. Why can't he always be
you always appreciate teachers that just seem like they genuinely enjoy their job, because you'll see the difference between a teacher who really doesn't like kids, like teenagers, and the teacher generally enjoys just hanging out and doing lectures and things. The difference is appreciable.
Yeah. Oh God, did you hear about that woman who tried suing because she was a teacher and she had a phobia of children, and so she tried suing her workplace? I'm not kidding. Hang on, let me look this up. I'm not. I can't make that up. Let me look this up real quick.
No, I don't think you could.
Teacher.
That doesn't make any logical sense.
Of kids suing.
She picked a very unfortunate career choice.
Yeah. Like the amount of work you have to do to be a teacher.
Found it. Teacher afraid of kids sues over middle school job. A former high school teacher is accusing school district administrators of discriminating against her because of her rare phobia of young children. And she's also she's a kindergarten teacher. Or, what is it? Middle school.
You have to deliberately
middle school
choose
teacher.
to take up kindergarten
teaching. See, I don't know how all that works. I'm not going to pretend to, but...
And I've spoken to teachers about this. They are licensed to teach specifically X grade. So that woman is licensed specifically to teach kindergarten.
Yep.
Yeah, because
I swear, really quick, I'm just going to say I think she did it for the money, but
you don't teach for the money. The money.
No.
I think she's suing.
Yeah, possibly.
That I believe.
Yeah.
Man.
But I think she needed some money, and she's like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna sue."
I mean, the only really benefit to teaching, like that teachers really get, is that it's one of the more stable jobs you'll get.
Well, that, and there's also the aspect of when you make a positive difference in someone's life.
I meant like financially speaking.
Well,
Like,
yeah, it's. I sometimes question the stability of it, depending on what you teach specifically. Especially when you hear stories like when schools make cutbacks and stuff like that. But that's going way far off. But
yeah. But yeah, so I just wanted to point that out. But yeah, so other than getting ready for college, and that's about it.
Awesome.
That's about it. I don't really have anything much else to.
Hey, Sam's here.
Hey, Sam.
To bring up. Oh, and Sam's here. Perfect timing because I'm done.
Sam sounds exhausted.
Yes.
Work is a magical thing.
I bet.
Yeah. Especially when you get to work right up until the podcast time.
Yeah.
And you still gotta do shit after work. It's lots of fun.
We could do this after when I get off work.
So what you do this week, Samuel?
Yeah, what did you do?
I was on the last week, and I didn't talk about what I did the week before that, so I got about 3 weeks to catch up on. How many hours you got?
I don't know. Yeah, just...
I think I'm going to boil it down to like 2 things.
Sure.
So I can eat dinner. I took 2 bites and showed up. Alright. One thing, just because fresh in my mind right now, is, so, I guess the funny thing, I'm trying to figure out how to word this, is that people know I'm, like, really into fucking Japanese shit, and yet I have not played that many visual novels, which visual novels are just, pictures with text and voice acting,
Really?
and it's just stories. Yeah. I played, Tsukihime once back in, like, high school, and that was about it. So...
Is that, oh, I didn't know you liked Japanese games.
Yeah, a lot.
He likes Japanese things.
Things. Yeah, sorry if that sounded
In a
weird.
general
But I've liked a whole bunch of like Japanese fighting games and weird anime games and shit. I don't know. But the point being is that like since years ago, according to this label I've got, it says it originally came out 2003, or that's when it was copyrighted. I have heard about this game called Saya no Uta, which means the Song of Saya. And all I've ever heard about it is the most fucked up thing you will probably ever experience. And I was like, well, I guess I gotta get a copy of this now. So I bought a physical copy of the English edition along with the download code. Cost me like $35. And it showed up at my house yesterday, which meant that the download code became available. So as I was waiting for the game to download and set up, I was just skimming through like the manual, and I looked at the back, and I was like, alright, like my limited knowledge of this game is like blood-covered walls and some weird chick, and like, I don't know, there's like sex involved, and everybody says, oh god, please don't play this.
In Japan.
Yeah.
This sounds like a great setup.
Yes. So it's like the old boy of
Yeah, it's like
games.
Before I even get to the the context of that, I'll just tell you that when I first booted it up, first it said this game has extreme graphic content. Viewer discretion is advised, and it says like extreme graphic depictions of sex, violence, like mature scenes, and just all kinds of weird shit. And then after that, it was like, do you want to filter out like a lot of the gore and like sexual stuff? And I was like, no.
It's like, why did I buy this game?
There were multiple filter options for it, to give you an idea. So, I booted up, and now to get to like the context of it, it is a regular visual novel, which just means, you're just reading text on screen with music and such. But the story is that a guy got into a car accident with his family where like a crane tipped over on the highway, and it crushed and killed his entire family.
Oh, Jesus.
And crushed him too, but he survived, and they did some kind of neural surgery to him. I don't have the name on me. There's a specific... he's a medical student, so he knows what kind of condition he suffers from. It's like... the
one where you can't feel any pain or something?
No. He was in a coma for like months after that. But it's like a gosma or something like that, and it's some kind of neural condition where your senses do not operate correctly. So, you'll like smell something, but as it goes to the brain and registers it, it doesn't register it correctly. So they translate that as saying when he first wakes up and can finally see again, all of the walls, the floors, the bed, and everything is made of guts, blood, and death.
Oh, Jesus.
So, like, the walls are just like made of different intestines and shit. The bed covers he has is like somebody's like torn out insides. And it's just like that.
I see.
Yeah. So, and also everybody he sees is a disfigured monster that he barely understands.
Huh.
So, and like the main crux of it is that the only girl that appears human is this girl named Saya. So, as far as I've got, which is about an hour and a half in, and I'll explain why I had to quit after that in a second.
Great.
Sorry. Is the only girl he sees human is Saya, so he falls in love with her. That's as far as I've gotten.
Yeah, because I'm looking, like, I looked up some images for this. This is...
Yeah! It's an experience.
This is fucked
I
up.
opted to not do that. Deliberately.
Yeah! I was telling my coworker about it, and I was like, it's like a morbid curiosity thing, and then... But the thing is, like, you can... I watch people, like, look at that game. I've seen, like, short clips of it, and I've seen thousands of images. It could not prepare you for, like, getting... Like, I wore, like, noise-canceling headphones. I was playing there with, like, nothing else running, and you just get so immersed in that shit that at one point I had to quit about an hour and a half in because I was getting physically ill. Like, I was about to throw up if I continued longer. And most of that actually came from the music, oddly enough.
Really?
Yeah, which I forgot that could happen.
I'm
But, like,
intrigued. I gotta
Yeah,
play
like,
this.
check out the song, Saya's theme on YouTube, because there's a specific part in the song that always gets me. Like, it just kind of, like, makes my blood curl. I don't know how to explain the effect other than it sounds like a door creak, but they sort of like cut it out and bit crush it, and it just sounds like the worst thing you've ever heard. And it plays constantly against these like angelic voices, and I guess that's supposed to represent the character of Saya, because I don't know what she is except that she appears human in a world where no one else does. And she doesn't know who I am, and yet she's like, yeah, I'll live with you, and I'll help you out. And then you're like, why are you so nice to me? He's like, because you're all alone, and I'm all alone, so that just makes sense, and that's as far as I understand.
Yeah, that's...
But
Holy
God,
shit.
like, the first time I booted that up, and just that weird, like, cringy guitar, and when the voices talk, it's just like, it sounds like they had them speak the lines, and then played it backwards, bit crushed it, slowed it down, and put some kind of noise filter over it. And all the text is just, like, random capitalized and lowercase letters that don't make any sense until they talk to you, and it's like, I guess another thing to point out is it's written by, this isn't on the back, Urobochi Gen, who is known for the guy who created Madoka, which was a really dark magical girl series. He also did Aldnoha Zero. He's known for creating really fucked up stories.
The plot
Now I
twist,
got-
you're actually in hell the whole time.
He
It's
describes it as hell.
It's like Jacob's Ladder. Now, I got a question. Is this like a 2D game, or is it 3D? Like, what perspective is this game? And
It's a
what
visual
are the
novel,
games?
so it's like, there's no actual movement or anything. All you do is you hit text, and they're background images. And when characters show up, they just show up, but there's always a wall of text in front. You can hit a button to take
Yeah,
away the text.
I
You'll
Google,
have two portraits, one on each side with a background image and text.
Basically.
like I googled this, and I loved how like the first thing I hit was like a Wikipedia entry that was talking about like it's Lovecraftian inspired. Like, yeah, I believe that.
Right.
Yeah, Lovecraft is great. Cthulhu appears. What's the name of this game? I'm sorry.
Saya no Uta, Song of Saya.
Song of...
Saya spelled Saya.
Yes.
A-
Yeah, look at some images so you'll get what I'm talking about.
S-A-Y-A. Song of
Rated
Saya.
R18 for graphic content. Adults only. All characters that gauge sexual activities are at least 18 years old. Yeah. But it's just like...
Well, that's something.
It's so fucking hard to
Now-
explain without experiencing
Now Brandon
the
saw it.
music and that. And, like, the other interesting part is that it shows his perspective, which is sort of like this hellish landscape of the real world. And he talks, and the writing's impeccable, where it talks about, like, him trying to eat food and what it tastes like and what smells smell like to him. But then, like, it also shows the perspective of other people. So there's a girl that likes him when they're in college, named Yo. And at one point she tries to confess him, so it shows her perspective where he's kind of sitting there, he's like closing his eyes, like not trying to look at her, and it describes how like he can't look directly at her and she thinks it's because he doesn't think she's pretty. And then it shows his perspective, and it's just like this monster where it's like if you ripped out your intestines and just made yourself inside out is what she looks like. So, you know, his basically, which he was like, we should help you, and he's like, I don't want to ever look at you face again. And he just runs off. And I can't describe it other than it's fucking morbid and
It's like
disgusting.
it's
so
like
interesting at the same time.
is he even aware of the fact that what he's seeing in front of him isn't how it really is? It's just that his senses and
He's very
perception.
aware of it, but he can't. He like
At the same time,
it's been like
it looks disturbing.
Yes.
yeah, like he describes in the beginning that's been like 3 or 4 months. So he says he cannot remember what his friends used to look like anymore, and he doesn't know when he's like dreaming or awake because he says I'm just going from hell to hell and back again.
Basically.
It's just like God damn.
That's gotta suck.
It's just all in the writing and the interest, and I'm like, I have to know how this fucking ends. Like, who the
Yeah.
fuck is Saya? Like, why does she look human when nobody else does?
I have a really bad theory on that.
I have a couple. But it's like that, and, you know, it's the funny thing is when I told my coworker about it, and I was like, it's rated, you know, M, and he's like, is this one of those sex games? And I was like, there's sex in it. And he's like, oh, and I'm like, no, like, it's not good.
It's
It's
not
like when you
utilized
watch,
in the
like,
least.
it's the kind of thing, though, where it's like, the characters are written up in such a way that when you see that happen, like, you don't go like, oh, that's awesome. You go like, oh, God, why? Like,
Yeah.
it actually develops the characters, oddly enough.
I can't unsee this.
I looked at the Google Images. It looks like it's also a comic book or something.
There might have been a manga adaptation of some sort.
It's color. I don't know, and it has like a fleshy border, and I don't know if it's
I think that's just the game image, dude.
Yeah, possibly.
Wow.
That's what the game looks like.
That's really cool. And like, how do you play the game? How do you?
Well,
play
it's a
the
visual
game?
novel. You're just going through text.
All you do
Yeah.
is hit a button to make text appear, and occasionally.
Oh,
Do they have an auto skip mode?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I figured it'd be like, Glor or
So
Glor.
it's purely a book almost that you're
Yeah,
that you're
it's a
reading.
book with voice acting and music that makes you want to vomit.
Yeah.
That is actually really cool.
It's like playing Persona 4 Arena Ultimax.
Oh.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Because I wasn't sure. I was like,
Yeah,
figured
because I
it'd be
did
like
want to
you wake up-
vomit during that.
I figured it'd be
Yeah.
like you wake up in the bed covered in flesh, blah 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 blah. To your left,
There's
there's
no
a,
interaction. No.
Yeah, where do you go? I thought it'd be like you type out stuff. Okay, that's.
Yeah.
I
So that kind
I-
of made my night when I played it last night. I
How-
posted on
how-
Twitter after I played it.
Yeah, I saw your tweets on that.
About how long is it?
I don't know. The first visual novel I ever played, Tsukihime, was something about 20 hours, and there were like 8 endings.
Shit.
Oh my
This one-
god!
Yeah, no, visual novels, Fate Stay Night's like 40 hours long.
I don't have that kind of time for just
Yeah,
text.
just thousands of words. This one, by the way the plot is going, I've gotten through what is essentially the intro in an hour, so I'm guessing it's probably like 10 hours. I don't know for sure, though.
Also, something I kind of found out was that the main character is suffering from something called agnosia.
That's what it is. Nausea.
Is the inability to process sensory information. Often there is a loss of ability to recognize object, person, sounds, shapes, or smells, while specific sense is not defective, nor is there any significant memory loss. So,
Yep.
yeah, that's basically what this character is going through. It's just, it has made everything look like flesh and shit, and
Just
Like the Binding of
disgusting.
Isaac.
But worse, because the art is really good. Like, it's not even, like, cutesy horror or anything like that. Like, I
Nope.
think it's kind of, like, disgusting, but it's about, like, poop and stuff. Like, this one is just, like, God damn, that just looks wrong. It's just it's so hard to describe. Like, I could show you some music to explain it, but you really gotta just, like, put yourself down and be like, I'm just gonna play this for half an hour and see
That's
what
not
happens.
happening.
I'll make it happen, Brain. I'll ship a
That's
copy.
not happening.
I want to play this. This sounds
Yeah,
really
it's
I-
satiated my morbid curiosity in the weirdest way.
cool. No, it sounds like something I genuinely like. I love like Silent Hill and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
this would
And
be up there then.
yeah,
So-
this sounds really interesting. I wonder. So it's real affliction. I wonder if it works the same way that it does in the game.
I'm sure different people see different things. I looked it up a bit, and it's usually described as just hallucinations. I don't know if anybody ever saw that, because the thing they also explain is that he goes to his doctor for a checkup, and she's like, "Do you have any hallucinations?" And he says no, because if he says yes, they're going to put him back in like a hospital where he can't move. and he's like, I have to be with Saya, or else he says he will literally just kill himself if he doesn't have her, because she's the only human-looking thing in his entire world. Like, that's what I thought was interesting about it, is the way they write her is just like, if she's gone, that's it. Like, because that world is just so messed up to him. God, it's so weird. That's about the best I can say for that, though. I probably won't mention it again until I finish it, because when I tweeted about it, a friend of mine who had played it says it gets much worse from there. Yeah. And I thought, oh, great. I've seen pictures of some other stuff.
So anything else on your plate, Sam?
I didn't talk about anything since Christmas, so I think I mentioned I got an Xbox One offhand.
You did.
I remember on our video that's about to go up, which will be up before this, Interactive Friction, I mentioned that we should talk about controller stuff.
Yeah.
Because I really like the Xbox One controller for the most part, aside from 2 buttons. But I was just curious, like, in a comparison, is, holding this controller, I really hated it first because the RB and LB are really hard to hit. But I was curious with the DualShock 4 if they did the same improvements where, like, the buttons have much more shallower reaction. The sticks on this are really loose.
I mean, compared to the PS3 controller?
No, the new one for the PS4.
Yeah, I mean, like...
it's just, like, compared to, like, the Xbox One, like, do you think it's...
Because
like,
I've never
How do the sticks feel? How do the...
I've never actually played with the Xbox One controller, so I can't use it as a I can't really talk about that without...
Well, do you have any, like, problems with the controller? I was curious. Like, how do the triggers feel compared to the PS3 one?
No, the PS4 controller feels a lot better than the PS4.
Really quick, have you guys seen the Mortal Kombat Xbox 3 or the Mortal Kombat X Xbox One controller?
No,
that's coming out.
I have. There's like, it's got like 6 buttons on the face of it.
Yeah,
I totally want it.
I do too. Typically, I don't do that. Like, they came out with the Street Fighter 4 joystick thing. I was like, I don't care. And then they came out with a one for, I think, the last Mortal Kombat. And I was like, I don't care. This one looks really good. Yeah. Sorry, we're talking about controllers, and I was like, I just might as well bring that up. Anyway.
So anything else happened to you, Sam?
I guess just right off some quick stuff. I got Persona 4 Ultimax to play with you.
Yeah, we played that for a bit.
And I won 1 match out of like the 30 we played.
You had, well, to be fair to him, that was his first time playing the game
ever.
Period. So he can be forgiven for not being that great in this first round.
Yeah, since then I have gotten through the arcade mode with Marie on the second hardest difficulty, which is right below expert.
And it's funny because neither me nor my friend Ian can use Marie at all. We were both really bad with her.
Marie is super cool later on. Like, once you learn some of her stuff, she's got some good combos.
I can't use her. She's not my playstyle at all.
Also, me and Brandon Ian got to talk about different deres for about an hour and a half. Because I was like, Brandon, I love her because he's a tsundere. And you're like, fucking what? I was like, okay, we're going to break this down.
Well, I knew what a tsundere was, but you started using other ones that I had never heard of.
Got your yandere, got your kudere, got your dandere. And then we had to, like, look at a list. It was like a TV tropes page or something.
I play a lot of Atlas games, so I should know these, but I had no idea.
That's because you gotta watch all the anime, man. Just all the anime ever.
Nah.
It's the only way.
Nah, bro, that's not happening.
Well, that was... Persona 4 Ultimax has been a lot of fun. I definitely need to practice a bit more, because I've tried her and I've tried Yukari.
Have you done any of the story at all?
No, because I still need to beat the story from 4.
I mean, once you beat 4, you'll unlock the Persona 3 story.
In Ultimax?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Just keep going deeper and deeper into more story.
It's just a visual novel, so you don't have to worry that much about it.
That's very true, and I can't say I haven't played visual novels or don't care for them now.
Yeah.
Now the secret's out. I played that one visual novel once. Other than that, like, I don't know, I just messed around with some stuff. Like, I played Lovely Planet, which was that weird game that everybody was into for a while. It's like that first-person Japanese shooter that was all super colorful like Katamari.
Lovely Planet, I swear I've heard of that.
It's weird. And, I did play most of Valiant Hearts. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm not sure I get the complete praise for that game. And I feel bad for saying that.
Did you see the errant signal on Valiant Hearts?
Yes, where you mentioned like he has some of the same problems I do, especially about like the character designs.
Yeah.
But it's just like I was playing it and I was like, it's an okay story, but the gameplay is fucking awful. And the pacing kind of suffers because of it. So
there is some good stuff in that, especially something that I found out listening to a recent podcast, which I don't want to spoil here for anybody who wants to play it. But man, there's some heavy shit in there.
Were you listening to the Bombcast?
Yes.
Talking about the very end of the game? Yeah.
Yep.
I know about the ending now. Because of that. Yeah, it's like it's good, but I feel like the problem I have with it is that it's heavy moments, but it's not a very good video game. In the sense that like The Last of Us reinforced its heavy moments through gameplay by saying like you have to do all these actions. By way of solving puzzles and then the heavy moments being stuff that I'm not interacting with, I don't really feel it as much.
It's a
good
gameplay,
story, it's just not a great
segregation,
game.
Or just
Well, it's just
narrative
the actions I'm doing aren't heavy actions. Like I'm not, killing people in this game at all. I'm putting gears on walls, and then during cutscenes, it's like, oh, someone got shot, and it's like, but I had no part in that. It was
so it's like that would be more emotion resonant if I was the one actually pulling the trigger.
Yeah, it's just like my comparison basically just goes to The Last of Us, where it's like you have to be the one to do that kind of
There's a difference
stuff.
between doing something yourself and watching someone do it.
Yeah. And the problem is that the gameplay is in no way related to the stuff that you do. Like, well, the actions you do cause heavy actions, but it's like, it's really weird to say because people were so happy that it wasn't a shooter, and I'm like, I feel like it would have made more sense that way because they're trying to talk a lot about, human life.
It's an
and what it
UbiArt
means
game, and that engine is not made for shooters whatsoever.
Yeah. But I just found it really weird when it's like you're trying to talk about the value of human life, and yet I'm just sitting here like, cutting barbed wire and just digging holes in the ground. So I still think it's interesting, but I'd be curious to see someone take that idea and actually put some good gameplay backing it. But it's a good story. I like that a lot. Although I do think the character designs are really weird that they don't have eyes, which makes them really hard to express different emotions.
Yeah, because the eyes is one of the most important parts.
Yeah.
I wonder if they did that just because they couldn't animate the eyes in that art style.
I don't know.
That's a good question.
They have very few frames of animation in that game. So a lot of it comes from the narration, which is good, but again, like, I feel like it's kind of let down by that.
For me, narration is like one of the worst ways a video game can tell a story.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, because that is literally that you are telling me, not showing me. Yeah.
And I guess that's more the problem with the gameplay as well. Is that they're just not interwoven as much as I thought they would be. But, I'm sure when I finish it, I'll think it's great and all, but it's, I saw people give it, like, Game of the Year for, like, Best Story, and it's like, Best Story maybe, but, like, I could not see myself getting it Best Game, because to me the best game is the one that interweaves everything together really well.
Alright.
I think that's it. I'm looking at my Steam list. I played other stuff, but not really worth mentioning, and I don't want to chew too much time up.
What'd you guys get for the Steam sale?
Oh,
not a whole lot, honestly.
Yeah,
I didn't get much at all.
Me either. I got 2 games.
It was honestly kind of a sad sale.
Yeah, I really didn't like it.
I remember I posted a Twitter about it, I think you answered me, Brandon, where I was wondering if it was either they chose bad games, it was a bad year for games, or if I just owned too many.
I think the answer is all the above.
Well, I think I got an answer for like a couple people, and most of them were just like, it's bad choices for games, and it wasn't a great year. Like, a lot of people were like, I don't think you owned so many games that
2014 was a very poor year in gaming.
Yeah, everyone's like, the top 10 best games 2014, and it's like, these ones, and then top 10 worst games, and it's like a fucking, like, full list. Yeah, like, full list. It's like, wow, alright.
I mean, I've said this before, and I'll say it here, because I've said it on Twitter many times before. I don't think it was a bad year for games, it was a terrible year for AAA games.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, if you went to, like, indie games, like itch.io, I found shitloads of interesting stuff.
The thing is that those games don't really impact Steam sales much at all.
Fucking Shovel Knight.
Steam.
Yeah, going back to the topic, like, finding indie games on Steam has actually become a lot harder of late.
Fucking Shovel Knight.
I think it's just
Shovel Knight.
A lot of people who said 2014 wasn't great. I was like, just go to itch.io, man. Like, there's just so much crazy shit. Otherwise, like, hunt down people who knew about the indie scene And I think I benefit a lot from following indie developers who tweet
I mean,
a lot of
my
games.
year was playing old games that I had missed out on years prior.
Yeah.
And that's probably going to end up being a lot of my this year unless things start shaping up soon.
I played the Hatsune Miku game.
So yeah, instead of talking about
skip
last week instead. Chris.
Yeah.
Hi.
What have you been doing this week?
I'll admit, some of my game time hasn't been as lengthy because I've been too busy watching ADGQ, Awesome Games Done Quick.
Oh, dude, I finally started watching that this year for the first time.
God, it is
so great.
I've been watching like Kotaku highlights of it, and so far it seems really cool. I saw the guy proposing.
Yeah.
I saw the guy play through that Star Wars game.
I didn't see that
and,
one.
like,
I didn't see that one either.
It
Chris
was
linked me to the Dark Souls stream today. That was nuts.
Yeah, I had to show you that. That was.
I heard someone today did Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, and I had to catch that later.
One guy played a Pokemon game in like under what was it, like 8 minutes?
No.
Transistor speed run.
No.
Did that really quick. I was surprised. I didn't know you could actually play through that game in like 2 hours.
But to get back to what Garrett was saying, though, the Pokemon, they played this Japanese game of Pokemon Green because it was never released outside of Japan. Like, we got Red and Blue, but not Red and Green. But yeah, that dude glitched his way to the end of that game in like a little under 4 minutes.
Because I was like, how is that possible? Yeah, the thumbnail was missing no. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I know how I did it.
Yeah.
What were the other streams I watched? I watched Alex Navarro play Big Rigs.
Oh God.
Somebody archived that and put it on Giant Bomb. It's like an 8-minute speed run because if you finish the final stage in that game and then you go back to the earlier ones, you'll win them automatically.
Really?
That's how busted that game is. Yeah.
Also, a game where once you start the race, the opponents still stay in place.
Yes, they don't move, and if you go backwards, there's no speed limit. You
can just drive off the level.
You can.
The best part is you can roll over the speedometer. Like it'll just keep going circles, and you'll keep going faster and faster until it breaks the game. It'll just crash.
Or you can there are no invisible walls, so you can drive off of the map and just
drive into the abyss.
But
you literally just stroll right off the map.
That's one of the interesting things about Awesome Games Done Quick is when you see games that we think are really great can also be just as busted. Like I saw some dude play through Tomb Raider Anniversary, and he was able to backflip up walls and do this trick they called airwalking, where, as it implies, for some reason this is. Because there are a lot of games like the Japanese versions especially have bugs and shit left in them that get fixed when they release them internationally. But, PC version of Tomb Raider Anniversary, this guy exploited this glitch where apparently if Lara pulls out her guns in the middle of a jump, the game thinks she's walking. And basically the dude would just walk on thin air through the whole game and glitch through a wall and just walk out of bounds. Out of bounds meaning
anywhere,
when you
pretty much.
Yeah, basically. And he was able to finish the game. It was ridiculous when he did that. One of the other highlights was this guy. There was an arcade version of Tetris that I think only saw released in Japan, like Tetris: The Grand Battle or something like that. Man, the inhuman speeds of the highest difficulty settings on that game, and the fact that this guy was keeping up with it is fucking insane. Watching that, it is literally the fastest game of Tetris I've ever seen played, and the fact that this guy was able to do this, a human being was able to do what this guy was doing, fucking blew my damn mind. Yeah, and I mean, it's the live stuff is going to be done by the time this gets posted, but of course you can always watch all of those runs. Yes, which is fantastic.
I believe host them.
Yeah.
Also, dude, you should. Did you watch the Half-Life 2 run? Half-Life 2 episode 2.
I caught part of it. I didn't see all of it though.
Oh, did you see the way he moves in that game? like they were talking about the way that if you move backwards, apparently you get negative velocity, which causes you to move forward at an accelerated rate, which means he could jump like thousands of feet in the air and just break the map. It was the most hilarious thing. At one point, he stacked up 3 explosives, and he's like, well, we found out a week ago that we could stack a triple explosion to go through a single invisible hole at the top of the map's skybox to break, like, 30 minutes of gameplay.
Oh my god.
I was like, how the fuck does this even work?
There was...
Look at this data and go like, there's a hole right there. We should get through that hole.
Yeah.
There was the guy who was playing the Star Wars game, and he's just running through enemies and stuff, and then he would throw down a grenade and do like a detonator jump, and do these detonator jumps like through invisible walls, over invisible walls, and then run on top of the invisible wall all the way through the mission. And then there was one point where he had to activate an elevator, and the elevator takes some time, and the game wants you to attack people, and he just hid in a hole, and he's punching the wall, and he's like after 4 punch, he's like, I'm punching the wall and timing the elevator. After 4 punches with my swings with my lightsaber, the elevator will be here. Okay, it's here. And he runs out and jumps on the elevator, and then it goes up halfway, and then he detonates, jumps up the rest of the way, so he doesn't have to wait. And it's like,
I got no time for elevators, man.
Yeah. Like there was one. It was this insane jump that he barely made, and people in the background just like clap. They very quiet, very calm. It was almost like the guy was playing golf, but what's happening on screen is like this insane, like just this guy like flying through this level, and people just go.
They do that whenever someone does something crazy, like they just kind of golf clap as if they.
But like
they want to clap, but they don't want to interrupt the guy.
I mean, because some of the glitches that they pull off, some of them can be difficult to do. But and I think I mentioned it before, where there are some of these dudes that will look at the actual game's code to find some of these exploits that are possible, and. There was one that some of the shit they do is also pretty funny. To where earlier today I was watching the Final Fantasy VII speedrun, and they were exclusively using the PC version of it because you don't have to swap discs, and somehow they had basically gotten to a point where they were at the end of the game before the game realized they were at the end of the game. And it like
right.
And like in certain parts where like the final boss battles are supposed to trigger, and like instead of using like the in-game engine, it uses just like straight up FMVs. Well, the game is so fucked with all the glitching and shit that they do. The game is so fucked it doesn't know which FMV to load. So it's like you see like the character models. So you see like the character models standing there watching the fucking intro at one point, like. Instead of like the boss battle FMV that you're supposed to see them, because that was one of those tricks the PS1 Final Fantasy games did, is where it's like, oh man, you think the graphics are so good. No, it's just the character model standing in front of the FMV. And it was so weird, like before they get to the very final boss fight, it's like Cloud and all the other party are standing there, and the FMV that's playing is the one intro where Cloud is on the train. It's like, oh look, he's just remembering what he's doing, like he's looking at his past, like it's not supposed to happen.
Guys, you broke it.
So dumb.
Oh, God.
That's awesome. I have to look that up now because I'm like, it's like a bad acid trip all of a sudden.
Yeah, like so.
Oh, God.
Those videos are great if because as I said, the live stuff is probably going to be done after this weekend, but they keep that shit archived and it's really good. It's some mind blowing stuff. So
Chris.
So the only other thing really to mention worth noting is been playing more Destiny.
Oh,
Sam,
yeah, buddy. Welcome to the club.
How is Dinklebot?
He's there.
Where did the wizard come from? I have a question. Where did the wizard come from?
Well,
from the moon, because they took that line out of the game.
Yeah, they don't come from the moon anymore.
I don't.
No, but I guess like their god is on the moon.
That wizard came from the moon.
No, according to the story, humans came from the moon in the hopes that they wouldn't take Earth, so they're not from the moon.
Yeah.
But Brandon, no, it's not that wizard came from the moon. It's the wizard came from the moon.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like listening.
He was on absence.
He is on absence.
So I finished like the I finished like the main story missions, and I had tweeted I had tweeted about this to where I felt like I skipped a bunch of shit. Like they're doing this, they're doing this big whole Star Wars-esque like ceremony thing going on, and I'm like, how did I get to this already? Like, I feel like there should have been at least like another couple hours of stuff going on. Nope. Like cutscenes.
Chris accidentally speed ran through Destiny.
I mean, it took me about 15 or so, but I did every single mission available.
Yeah, I did the same thing, the exact same thing. And
I don't think hours are the problem. I think it's just the content of the mission.
The content was
you get like a fun sized snack of like story with every mission.
Yep.
It's just kind of like you were like one singular thing every mission.
Just need those memoir cards, dude.
There's really only like 4 real cutscenes, and it's kind of a shame because like some of the stuff like.
The cutscenes are amazing, though.
Yeah, everything looks really good.
It's definitely the guys who did Halo. Like, just the cinematography is pretty great. Like, I remember that cutscene when you open the gate on the moon, and, like, you know, you're sitting there in Dinklebot or whatever, he's just sort of looking at the door, and I was like, the cinematography here is pretty great. The voice acting's pretty great. When you go to the reef, and you talk to the Awoken, I was like, this is pretty alright. And it's like, it reminded me of when I was playing Halo. And then I was like, I need like 20 more of these, and this game would be great.
The weird thing about it is like, especially like Dinklebot's character, especially. I love how that's just our name for him. We don't even fucking bother.
Just Dinklebot.
Because Ghost sounds stupid, but
it's the best name.
So the whole idea is that those things really are supposed to be alive because they are what is basically considered the last parts of the Traveler, as he made it. But whatever,
That's according to the speaker.
Okay, so the big white ball made all of the, and I'll probably have to edit that out. The big white ball.
Big ball made the ghost.
No, not that. I had a fucking Skype noise show up because I didn't put this on Do Not Disturb. But so the big white ball that hangs over Earth made the Dinklebots, and because according to the lore, those things are supposed to be alive, even though they're just like
episode 22, the big white ball that hangs over the Earth.
Yeah. And
they let off all the little white balls.
Yep, basically.
That's too long of a title, so we had to find out some way.
And
just call it the Destiny Cast.
No, we're not doing that again. But basically, like, it's this weird disconnect that I get with Dinklebot's character to where it's like he's either robotic or sometimes he actually does show personality, which just feels weird. Like I'm just.
I remember telling you that. Like when he has like natural. Well, I remember I explained that when I first played it, and it makes more sense that you played it too, is that he uses natural human language, and that sounds really weird coming from a robot.
It's really weird. Like
he says things that would not be programmed into a robot's dictionary.
No, like and sometimes his behavior in certain scenes just feels way out of whack. To where I feel like
people look at this sky and see the stars.
What's weird is that sometimes he does have a personality, but it doesn't seem like he should.
And it feels like, they already went to the trouble of having the Guardian, the player character, do some speaking, but it's like, and I kind of wish he could have spoke more, because it's like, hey, I took time, customizing that head. I want to see more of it, not just the fucking helmet all the time in the cutscenes, but whatever. And you do get some cutscenes where you get to see your character talk, which I think is okay. But
I wish I had more of that.
The one in particular that really threw me off is after you kill this thing called the Gate Lord, and you're supposed to go back to the Awoken Queen and her brother, which those characters just are called the Queen and her brother.
And her brother?
Yep.
Yes.
And
because nothing in this has names, which is what
really
throws me off.
They have titles.
No.
Yeah, it's the Traveler, the Speaker, the Ghost,
the Stranger,
the Awoken, the Thresh, the
Dark,
Fallen,
the Vex, the
Hive,
Cabal,
the Darkness, the Vex.
It's so
the Vaults of Glass.
Yeah, there's one chick who does get a name, but she's part of the expansion.
Oh, right, yeah. Because I was also going to say there's the Stranger, who's the main character during the final cutscenes. She's keeps showing up and disappearing.
Yeah, and you never know anything else about her. But
it feels like the first act of a game. The story,
yeah,
it feels like there's like 30 more hours of like, all right, now
and then all of a sudden,
the stranger is, and we're gonna go see the traveler.
Can't you wait until Activision makes that contractually obligated sequel?
2017 or 2016?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't know. I don't care. But
Penny Arcade did a really quick. Penny Arcade did a. They did a comic on, like, someone did a fanfic and how well it was done, and that was actually really interesting. I'll have to find it. Like, I'll link it to you guys. But they did a comic on. It was this story. It's like one of the heroes is dying, and the ghost is like telling this story, and it was actually really well done. So anyway. Sorry.
Yeah, so like Dinklebot, like he's just this kind of C-3PO-esque thing of like he just talks in like numbers and like data, says a bunch of sci-fi shit, and then like a few times where he shows personality, it's just a really big disconnect. Because like I said, this one cutscene after you kill this boss called the Gate Lord, and you go back to the Queen and her brother, and they're like, oh, did you kill the Gate Lord? And Dinklebot's just like, Dinklebot's just like,
you said Gate Lord, but I heard Gay Lord.
I don't care.
Same difference in that game.
But no, like
the Gay Lord.
No, your dude is standing there, and then Dinklebot's like, "Oh, we killed a Gate Lord," like all fucking pompous. And I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? Like,
I held X and he looked at the computer for a while.
Yeah, that's all he did. Like, I was the one that actually fought the fucking boss fight, and then all out of nowhere, like Dinklebot's just all fucking crass. Like, really? Where did you get a personality?
It's almost like he has like bipolar or something. It
no
just
shit.
Comes out of nowhere.
And that's really like
I've been watching Let's Plays. I'm like, what?
It's
and there's
bizarre.
And there's one like, and the only other like, and the other scene where that something like that kind of happens is like when you first open up like that temple on the moon. And you're supposed to go down there, and he's like, what do we do? And it's like,
is there
we go
is
down.
There a wizard there?
Yeah. Well, no, but there's bugs. So I think
it's weird because like some of the lines are actually really well done, and some of the voice acting is really well done. Some of the cutscenes are well done. There's just not enough of any of those.
No, there's not.
And they don't form a cohesive whole.
So I think it's just clear to say that you don't buy Destiny for the story at all. But
you'd be very disappointed.
Yeah, in the same vein, I mean, the whole thing is Bungie just kind of touting the idea that this is an MMO. Well, I kind of need to treat it like one. Especially because of the fact that Destiny really is something I would only recommend if you have friends that are playing it, which was part of the reason I bought it, is because, one, it was on sale, because I'm not paying full fucking price for this, and two, I did know a couple people, Sam being one of them, well, whenever I get an X-Bone, because, Sam bought the game.
Woo! Jesse!
Yeah.
We're gonna go through the raid! 7 times!
Yeah, a lady friend of mine, I played with her on New Year's, and she was showing me around all this crazy stuff, and I was just kind of learning the basics of it, and it did not take me long to get to 20, and now the whole grind is you don't level up anymore by just experience. You level up by finding better gear.
Yep.
That's kind of the crux of it, and that takes a while, simply because finding that shit is kind of a dime a dozen, and it's like I've been going through the grind and everything, and at the same time, it's like I don't hate this. I do kind of feel like there are other things I'd rather be doing, but at the same time, it's like I don't hate this, and it's like, man, I'm glad I didn't pay full price for this, but also, it really is just this kind of purgatory of an opinion that I have on Destiny as a whole. Because, like I said, this is not something you buy for some big solo adventure. No, you've made a mistake. This is something you buy to play with friends. That really is the selling point of Destiny, because once you start doing some of the multiplayer stuff, like whether you're doing these strikes, or even if you're just playing competitive multiplayer, that's where the strength of this game is, because the mechanics, the controls, all that holds up really well. I did, a bunch of multiplayer stuff in the Crucible. It was like, I could see how this is from the guys who made fucking Halo, one of the best console multiplayer games for a good long while.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, that's the thing, is that when people kept complaining about like the grind and it's like there's not enough content, I was like, well, not saying that there is, but a lot of people who complain about it didn't play the competitive multiplayer and don't like it, and that is definitely a good half of the game.
Yeah.
It's
like
just playing multiplayer.
You really want, or if you're playing co-op with people, if you have people you can play co-op with regularly, that's really how you get the most mileage out of this game. And like I said, when I did co-op with my friend on New Year's, that was probably some of the most fun I had with it. It was a good time, and I was glad I got to play with her and, do some more games. So, yeah, that's really the crux of it. With all the shitting on this game that we do, that's just because of how fucking hobbled together the lame-ass story is. Because it was...
you call it disappointing?
The story? Yes.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that's really kind of, and I bought the fucking expansion pass, because why not?
I'm going to very soon.
I did that.
You buy the whole season pass or just that one expansion?
No, I bought the season pass.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm
He's
a
going
whore.
full on.
Yep, because now I also get this on my Xbone because I bought it digitally. That's when I buy an Xbone, which whenever that is. Yeah, and also, but one of the things, like the last thing I kind of want to mention is the fact of looking at Destiny, Titanfall, Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed Unity, Drive Club, The Crew. Was this what next gen was supposed to be? Think of all
a generation of day one patches and defective products on launch.
Like all that shit pulled together. But you know what? I mentioned all of that, but I don't have any complaints about some of the stuff that Nintendo is doing. When was the last time you heard Nintendo shipped a fucking broke-ass game that they put patch after patch and it still didn't work? Don't worry, I'll wait.
There's probably one.
Like,
let's see. Google.
As far as the Wii U is concerned.
Nintendo.
Sam's like, I'm bound to find some...
We get the point, Chris. You can keep going.
Yeah, Nintendo is the only one that did not fuck up. That's basically my whole deal. And I don't mean this in an exaggerated way. The Wii U really is the best console right now.
Yeah.
I fucking mean that.
And that's something I hated the Wii U. I really don't like Nintendo at the moment, but then this console is...
Yeah, it's like... It's kind of weird how
it's destroying right now.
Again, it does come down to the games.
Yeah, it has the best exclusives.
And the thing is, like, I would have shit on Nintendo back when the Wii U was first coming out too, because I didn't like a lot of the gross stuff they were doing with like YouTube and all this other and copyright.
They marketed the console really poorly.
They
just
did
in the general sense.
And the Wii U really was one of those things of the classic example of day one adopters are suckers, because
I remember I watched the Bombcast today, and if they just named it the Wii 2 and said, "Oh, cool, you have a tablet on it now," people would have gotten that right away.
But no, people thought
they have a terrible name scheme.
Yeah. They should have called it. I still
sounds like a piece.
Again, just call it the Wii 2. We would have gotten instinctively that it was a new Wii, not the same one as the old one, and it had the new tablet installed.
I still would have called it the Wii 1.
Oh no! I still would have loved it. I would have loved it if they'd have called it the Super Wii, but
that would have been pretty great.
Super
yeah,
Wii.
I know, right? But
go to the bathroom and take a Super Wii.
Oh man,
Extra Wii, and we got the
that's after a lot of Mountain Dew. But
and Doritos.
But yeah, like Mario Kart 7, that worked really great, and that was my reason for getting one. Hyrule Warriors, that surprised the shit out of me. And
I know, right?
Fucking Bayonetta 2 and Wonderful 101, fucking, they made me give a shit about Captain Toad Treasure Tracker.
Nobody gives a shit about Toad.
Yeah, but that game's great. Fucking Smash Brothers is awesome. Like, yeah, the Wii really is where it's at, console-wise. Like, and that's the thing. Nintendo hasn't had to make some big, stupid apology for shipping out, like, half a game. And, and while they've introduced DLC, their DLC doesn't make you feel like you got fucking robbed. when
Did
you
they
after
give me
you've
Far Cry 4 for free after Unity's season pass fucked up?
yeah, exactly.
They didn't give me because I didn't get the season pass.
You know,
so
it's not like you have people in an office running around with the office on fire wondering, what do we do, like the Master Chief Collection.
Does anyone else wait for all DLC to come out before buying the season pass? Anyone that does that?
Sometimes.
There are some people that do, simply because
What happened with the Master Chief Collection? Simply because I've heard really bad things, but
You can,
nothing
for the longest
specific.
time, and still even today, you can't get into matchmaking.
Yeah,
sometimes you just won't find a match.
they've patched it a number of times and none of them work.
They patched it so much that they offered Halo 3 ODST remastered for free.
Nintendo has not had to do
last year.
Nintendo has not had to do any of that bullshit. And granted, they're not the first ones I think of when it comes to online stuff, but man, have they gotten shit right.
I mean, it just comes down to, like, the library is pretty limited. It's all first party, but it's like, but the stuff there was handled with a lot of care.
Yeah,
like,
and granted,
you could tell with Mario Kart Smash Bros. That people
The
took their time
libraries
on
for
this.
the PS4 and the Xbox One in general aren't that great either right now, honestly.
no, as far as their exclusives.
The only thing I really hate about them is the way they treat their audience, and it's like, I'm gonna do a let's play
Even
of
you
this.
take in the games that other publishers make for them, they're not that great still.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but like someone's like, I'm gonna do a let's play of this game that came out in like 1997, and it was like, I'm gonna sue you. It's like, holy
Hey,
shit.
Sega
Yeah.
does that too.
Yeah.
I don't get why companies have to do that. How much money are they losing in a let's play? And people.
Oh, that's a whole.
Let's
Yeah,
just talk about that
that's
game.
not
Yeah.
yeah. But just kind of my final thought on that is simply the fact that the Wii U, I would have shit on that thing the first 6 months that was out because it was a classic example of I had bought this thing, now what the hell do I do with it? And nothing really came around for that thing until fucking Super Mario 3D Land, and everybody shit their pants at how great it was. But after that, Nintendo has just been
collectively shit themselves. At the same moment.
Nintendo's just been rocking it. They've been doing great. Like all of the big stuff that they hyped has been living up to it. And I can't say the same for a lot of shit that Ubisoft, Activision, EA, all these fuckers, Microsoft, even Sony, like it's a fucking they're in a next gen to them has been a fucking mess.
I mean, I think it says a lot that a lot of people's game of the year this year was Shadow of Mordor, which was a game that
was
had
weird.
Like, one great concept and good gameplay.
Yeah.
But it's not like, you know, the other year when like Last of Us came out, it's like this game is just fucking perfect in every respect. Shadow of Mordor, it's like the game of the year, or like Dragon Age, were both like flawed games, still won game of the year. There was nothing that was just like beautiful and perfect.
Yeah.
this
There
year.
was no like.
There was nothing like
game of
flawless
Plus
this
Buy
year.
this year, was there?
I don't think there's like any game this year I'd recommend to someone like 25 years later and be like, yeah, this is a historical thing that you should play because it was fucking amazing.
Hopefully,
Like even Shadow of
Unity
Mordor's
becomes
like
a turning
Nemesis
point.
system will get cribbed from someone else.
Hopefully, Assassin's Creed Unity becomes a bit of a turning point for that particular franchise, but
Yeah, but it's all like even that and like Mordor is like somebody's gonna do that Nemesis system and do it with a better story. You know, Unity, they're hopefully gonna take that good advancements they made and put less technical problems with it. Dragon Age
this is the part of the generation where these kind of things have to happen now. If they happen later, it's going to be dramatic and terrible.
I think
So
history.
this is the part where you have
like,
for experimenting to see what works and what doesn't work.
yeah, I think like history has told us that the end of the console cycle is generally when the best stuff comes out because people know that hardware and they know what to expect of it.
This is the experimentation phase of the console generation. Once we start getting to the middle of it, it'll probably start kicking up a bit better. But we're probably going to still. It's probably next year, this year, or maybe the next. Still going to probably be kind of hard.
Remember the launch of the PS3 when stuff like Lair came out?
Oh.
There.
Yeah, I had a copy of that. I still have a copy.
Perfect Dark Zero on the 360. That was the killer app.
Yeah,
Man.
I mean, there's also stuff that was like, you know, Resistance, which is like, it's pretty good. And then, you know, like a year later, we had Gears of War.
Resistance was
360.
only 5-star at the time because every other game out there was,
because it was the only launch title that wasn't like pretty
Yeah,
bad.
like
which made it the best game on the PS3 at that point.
yep.
It's funny to think about it. That we thought that now that I think about it, pretty much every console cycle's like that. Where
And
they all
by the time we got to
fucked up at
Resistance
launch.
3, we had already gotten over the franchise, so the sales weren't that great.
Yeah, because I'm sure like Xbone and PS4 are gonna have like, here is the legendary shit that this console is known for and why you should have had one. You know, It's just that
Yeah, I mean, it'll have that eventually. It'll have its Last of Us or its Dark Souls.
it's
Yeah.
Mario Kart 7
Yeah.
or 8.
Like, I
Excuse
feel
me.
like the Wii U, since it's been out for a couple of years, is finally hitting that stride that the other consoles need another year for.
Mhm.
But Wii U, like, they had that year, that rocky year, and now
Also,
they're on
keep
their
in mind,
good year.
Nintendo, they have their own franchises, which they know like back of their hand at this point because it's the same franchise that they've had for years now.
Yeah,
So they already have that kind of brand familiarity that a lot of the other generations are still trying to get with a lot of newer IPs coming out.
but the question, like with the Wii, is when those franchises get exhausted, what third party is going to step up?
Like Watch Dogs was supposed to take over Assassin's Creed almost.
Well,
and,
Sam, I got a question for you. Have you seen Splatoon?
Actually, I have
Nintendo's
not,
new
but I've
IP.
heard a lot of good things.
Yeah,
You've never seen any Splatoon before?
Mm-mm.
That's impressive.
you very well should.
It's that and Project Steam I need to go look at.
Yeah.
I haven't seen either. I haven't seen anything that came out of Nintendo. I've never seen Mario Maker. I don't even know what the fuck it looks like. I don't know why. I just never watched that conference, and like everyone's like, "This is so great." I was like, "Oh, watch the
Probably
video
one of their
someday."
best conferences too.
Whoops. That was fucking working
Anyway,
that
we
day.
should, enough about reviewing last year's stuff.
Yeah. Brandon.
Well, yeah.
Game of the Year podcast part 2.
So yeah, my week's been fairly light. Like Sam said earlier, he and I are starting a new little project called what do we call it again?
You named it.
Yeah, I know.
It's called Interactive Friction.
Interactive Friction, yes, and
It's
basically
uploaded by the time you see this.
it's a Let's Play series. But yeah, by the time this is out, the first episode will be on, and I'll just link it in the show notes.
Yay.
And we're basically going through Far Cry 3 because I want to talk about Far Cry 3, and Sam let me.
It's like the thing is, it's a Let's Play, but we're spoiling the whole game during the whole thing. It's much more of like a story discussion and a mechanics discussion while I happen to be playing the game at the same time. So like at the very first episode, we talk about the ending of Far Cry 3.
It's like a long form review.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, it's like spoilers abound. So if you've not played that game, I wouldn't watch that because it's not a standard Let's Play.
I failed. I dropped.
You just take a dump.
That's what it sounds
Wow.
like.
No, I tried jumping off my roof and landing on a tree, and
I heard.
You tried jumping off your roof and landing on.
He's playing Minecraft.
I'm playing Minecraft with Kindle.
I
and
just thought you were
Kindle
literal.
now.
Just like, yeah, he took the headset with him and he just jumped off his roof. I'm like, well, you're doing okay, so we jumped off a roof.
I'm like, okay, yeah. So we're gonna do
It's very good at noise canceling.
Yeah, didn't hear anything.
Hey, while we talk about games, I'm gonna go do some parkour. Be right back. Parkour.
What else you got, Fred?
I apologize.
I love that. I love that concept of I'm gonna go do this, and you just say it as opposed to like, hey, I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna go cooking, cook. I'm gonna go dancing, dance.
Parkour. You guys ever seen The Office?
So yeah.
Yeah.
Parkour.
So we got that venture. We're gonna start. We're starting up by the time this cast is posted, and we already talked about how we played Persona 4 Ultimax together, and we had a lot of time talking about anime, and me kind of getting lost in conversation.
It was
But-
awesome for me.
Aside from that, most of my free time is spent playing Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep Final Mix through Kingdom Hearts 2.5.
So is that just up-resed? Is it remastered? Like, what have they changed to it?
It
for the
feels
PS?
a bit more like an up-res than a remastered.
Okay.
One of the things they changed is that in the PSP version, because they didn't have the L2, R2 buttons, because it's a PSP, you had to change your commands by going up, using the up, down, and directional buttons. You can still do that, but if you want, you can also cycle through using the L2 and R2 buttons as well now. Because they have that controller, which means instead of trying to fiddle between using your analog stick and choosing commands at the same time, you can use the analog stick while switching commands by using the L2, R2 buttons, which is a very convenient thing to have with you. Especially when you're fighting a lot of the bonus bosses in the game. And they have the camera movement as a right analog stick since they have that option now, since it's not a PSP game anymore. And that's really convenient. But aside from that, a lot of the old content that I'm used to is back, and I do love Birth by Sleep. It's probably the one
that was the very first Kingdom Hearts game that I played, actually.
and it's one of the better ones out there. Definitely.
Considering that chronologically, that really is like the beginning of that series timeline. That's not a bad place to start.
It takes place 10 years before the original Kingdom Hearts game does.
Oh god! But I thought Roxas was in that.
No, Ventus is.
Oh, but he looks like Roxas, right?
It would be more accurate to say that Roxas looks like him.
God.
Okay. Did they explain that in the story, or is it just
Brandon.
They don't technically explain it in the story, but the way it works is because Ventus's heart, when it got shattered, he had the darkness extracted out of him, and that broke his heart. So when Sora was born, he saw Ventus's shattered heart in the sea of all hearts, and just went in and fixed it because he can do that.
Because he's the chosen one.
Yeah, before he got born. So he's like, "Oh hi, I'm being born. I'll fix your heart. Now I got to go back to my body because I'm being born now."
That.
Kingdom Hearts got weird, guys.
Yeah,
Even diehard fans are like, and then the story is
like what?
We're gonna have like an episode of the podcast where Brandon just explains Kingdom Hearts to me.
Oh no!
Let me keep going because you asked this question.
Oh,
you asked this question.
Mind, Sam.
Great, Sam.
You asked this.
Sorry.
So the darkness in his heart that was extracted from him becomes Vanitas. And when those two clash in the finale of Birth by Sleep, spoiler alert, they form what is known as the Keyblade, except instead of key, it's the letter X, which is pronounced Ki or Kai, because
like
Greek letters.
XI?
No, it's pronounced it's the X blade, but the X is pronounced Ki because the Greek letter X is pronounced Ki.
I'm not questioning it. Keep going.
It's a pun.
So that's not like Chinese lettering, like where it would be like Z. How do you pronounce that? An X?
Ki.
Ki? Oh, is it soft? Is it a soft?
I don't care.
Let's talk about language for a while.
It's a really bad pun. You don't need to worry about it. So when this ultimate Keyblade is forged, it forms the door to Kingdom Hearts, which is the heart of all worlds.
Right, that was the guy. That was what Zenus wanted.
Xehanort.
Close enough. Which was who's heartless, or was the other?
Let's not. Sam, just go with it. Just go with it. Just go with it.
And then Riku's heartless, and Sora's heartless. We got his heart back, and that became him a nobody.
And then he became.
Then sacrificed, since the Keyblade is forged by the combination of their two hearts, one of pure light and one of pure darkness. Ventus broke it by sacrificing his own heart.
To get rid of the heart, the dark one?
Yeah. Because he broke the Keyblade by basically killing himself and Vanitas. So, since his heart is shattered, it goes back into Sora's body to basically recuperate up until the events of Kingdom Hearts 1, where when Sora becomes a Heartless, that heart stays inside of Sora's body, and because that heart's still in his body, that's why Roxas looks like Ven.
Heart's so confusing.
Just let's not worry about that. So, Brandon.
Destiny's story makes more fucking sense than Kingdom Hearts.
It's because there's not that much of a story there, man.
Exactly. At least in Destiny, they're not like, whoa, when you die, you separate your ghost from your guardian.
Comparing.
No, if you succumb to the darkness in your hearts, you become a Heartless. And if your will is strong enough, your body will become a nobody.
Comparing Destiny's story to fucking Kingdom Hearts story, that's like comparing a full-on...
The only thing they have in common is the fact that they use light and darkness
but other than that, it's like comparing like a fully stacked hero sandwich to a fucking bologna sandwich. One of them has a lot more content than the other.
Oodles of content. And only part of it is Atlantica.
We hate Atlantica.
How does stories work?
That's part of Birth by Sleep. There's no Atlantica section.
So, before we go on, because I've had this question in my head for years now. Am I stupid for not understanding the Kingdom Hearts story, or is it commonly understood that nobody fucking understands the story?
I understand it, but I could
Okay.
not fault anyone for not understanding it.
Yeah, because when I was
It's-
younger, I thought I was just stupid for not understanding the story.
No. That's perfectly acceptable.
It's kind of like how I used to be when friends would ask me about Assassin's Creed. My basic answer was that I've played just about as many games as I could. I still couldn't tell you what the fuck is going on. That's
Like
I never can.
good at learning and figuring out game lore. That's something I've generally been fairly good with. So, and besides, I play a lot of Final Fantasy games. This is a typical Nomura overly complex plot. I'm used to that.
Nomura.
A lot of people aren't. I cannot fault anybody for not understanding fully what's going on, because there is a lot of shit going on in Kingdom Hearts.
my only question about Kingdom Hearts is why Donald has fucking zippers on his hat.
Because
I can answer
I
that.
don't know.
Because Tetsuya Nomura has a zipper fetish.
I don't.
He loves zippers and belts.
It's like if you unzipped Donald's
You joke,
hat,
but
that
that's
thing
not
would.
that's not a lie. He literally has a fetish for zippers and belts.
Yeah,
and
like
loves
if
drawing
you
them.
if you unzipped Donald's hat, that thing would just fall apart. It's not like he's keeping anything in there. Like
I'm trying to remember. I think the only other time I've seen costumes like that is in like Arc System Works games. Like when you look
Yeah.
at Guilty Gear, you're like, that looks
Yeah.
about right.
Soul's got like 5 fucking belts on. Like what
Dude,
the
he
fuck?
holds pants up. They keep falling down.
It's like they're on his shirt, and it's like what?
I got
Yeah,
shirt belts.
I have played through the 3 campaigns, and I have unlocked but have not played the final episode of Birth by Sleep yet. And I did play on critical mode, which honestly isn't that big a deal in Birth by Sleep compared to Kingdom Hearts 2, because the same fights are bullshit anyway, so it doesn't matter if you're playing them on hard. It doesn't matter if you're playing on a critical or an easy. A one-hit kill is a one-hit kill. Doesn't matter what difficulty you're on. So it really wasn't that hard to transition from normal to critical mode. And as opposed to the 3 characters, Terra is again easily the worst of the 3 to play.
Terra is the big guy, right?
Yeah,
Brown
the
hair?
big guy. He uses earth. He's a physical attacker who is very slow, and he uses earth and dark moves. His exclusive moves are all earth or darkness based.
And then what's the girl's name? It's not Aqua.
Aqua.
It is Aqua.
Yeah, they're Terra, Ventus, and Aqua, because Terra means earth in Latin. Aqua is obviously water. I don't
What
know
is
how.
Ventus?
Ventus is wind.
Yeah,
Wind. Okay. So is there fire?
No.
Oh.
The reason those named is because Sora, Riku, and Kairi. Sora is, in Japanese, that means sky.
Sky. Yes.
Riku means land, and Kairi means sea. So it's kind of like those 3 are XPs for the 3 that most people who play Kingdom Hearts know.
I'm gonna search up fire in Latin.
Oh damn it!
What is the language for fire?
So Brian, did you do anything else? Or was
No,
that-
this
that's
this is my segment is going to be dedicated to talking about Birth by Sleep. Deal with it.
It's like when I talk about Sino Uta, and I was like, I don't got anything else, guys.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
no, that's fine.
No,
I just want
this
to tell you
really
about this
is.
weird fucked up thing I played.
Or we could just call it because
Because I have shit to do.
Oh, can I talk about
Please.
boring Kingdom Hearts Monopoly real quick?
oh
Yes.
please do.
Please, God, yes.
Because
I
in
need this.
Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, the way you get your commands is that you can either level them up and fuse them together to make new commands, or you can play what's known as the command board, which is Kingdom Hearts Monopoly and about as retarded and annoying as Monopoly.
I'm gonna say that you bummed me out right away because at first I thought you meant like, oh, here's a Monopoly board game that's based on Kingdom Hearts. That I probably would have been okay with. But the fact that you're telling me this is just another one of Square's, like, here's our fucked up version of a board game that we put in this game. Yeah, fuck you.
I feel like ever since, what was it, Final Fantasy VIII, that they were just like, games,
Oh my God, the
board
mini
games,
games,
and card
Birth
games.
by-
and-
Now, don't get me wrong, I love Birth by Sleep. The minigames are almost all universally shit.
It's like the fucking
Right.
card game they had in Final Fantasy VIII. Like, what was that shit?
Triple Triad.
Yeah, I
I thought
hated
people
that
liked
so
that
much.
one a lot.
People do, and I don't get it.
Yeah, neither do I.
I don't get why people like
The fact that
so
the fact that Brandon doesn't get it, that to me speaks volumes.
I mean, he gets the Kingdom Hearts story, and he doesn't even get triple
Nope.
try. That explains
I
everything.
understand how to play. I just don't get why people like it.
I just one of those people who's like, just get that out of my face. Just let me play the goddamn game.
Oh,
I want to play a
there are
card
a
game. I
lot
want to
of
play a card game.
commands that you can only get through playing the command board. And it's by far the fastest way to level up commands if you're doing them en masse. Because the way it works is that you start with a hand of 5 of your commands. And you can play them on the board, kind of like how you buy property in Monopoly, except instead of buying it, you place your commands on that space. And when someone runs over it, they pay the toll. Again,
They pay the troll toll.
And your objective is to go to the 4 checkpoints on the board and get your bonus money from them, and then go to the start point. And then you do that until you get the amount of money you need to win, and then you win the game, basically. And the way your commands level up is that if they're on the board at the end of the game, depending on how much you level up that space, you'll get extra experience on that command. And if you take any commands from other players, you can keep those commands at the end of the game.
So if I play fucking command board, can I be the hat or the car?
No, you can be your character.
Fuck.
Man, I always wanted to be the car.
I know, right?
Although a lot of people who play who do low level runs use the command board to level up their commands. They don't want to actually fight monsters to get XP that way.
I don't want to play the game. I just want to play a shitty Monopoly. Great.
Critical mode fixes this by giving you an ability called No EXP Gain, which you can toggle on or off, and it does exactly what you think it does with that name.
Fucking Mario Kart 7 has that car, though. Or, excuse me, Mario Kart 8, sorry.
Oh, and the other minigames in
does
this
have
game
that
are
car.
worse.
Yeah, it does.
There is a minigame called Fruit Ball, which...
I'm not liking where this is going. I'm just going to state that outright.
It takes place... It's in Disney Town.
Uh-huh.
And the way it works is that you have an opponent on one side, you're on the other side. You're going to shoot in his goal, and you don't want him to shoot in your goal.
Isn't this Pong?
Yes, except the twist is that in some levels the goal will randomly move. Sometimes there will be barriers that just get randomly put in front of you.
Wait.
Instead of balls, you shoot fruit.
Wait.
What if I want to shoot balls, though?
That's why it's called Fruit Ball.
Wait. Hang on a second. Brandon, I got a question.
What?
So, is this game basically is Fruit Ball like Kingdom Hearts version of Windjammers?
What's Windjammers?
Wait,
Fuck.
you said Windjammers? You said Windjammers.
Yeah, I know, right?
Windjammers confirmed.
This sounds like it could be like...
Naked Windjammers.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that'd make me want to play it.
And all of the different fruits have different effects. Like if you hit something with a giant banana, it'll break up into peels. Or and the grapes are like a shotgun where you hit it and then it will spray into mini grapes and you get a lot of points for getting all those grapes in the goal.
I can see that because grapes are buckshot.
And the problem is that they're all retarded. These are the rules as I'm explaining it, but in theory, that's how it works. In practice, the way it happens is that stuff goes on the screen, and you have no idea what's going on. So you're just hitting random buttons until something happens. Because you'll have 5 fruit in your side, 10 fruit on the other guy's side, and none of them end up hitting the goal for some reason. Except the fruit on your side happen to magically end up in your goal for God knows why. And it's the most annoying fucking game in the world.
None of this sounds more like fucking Blitzball from Final Fantasy X.
At least Blitzball makes any fucking sense.
Yeah, but I liked it better when this sounded like Windjammers. Now I don't care.
Chris, I just want to play Windjammers with you now.
I know, right?
Just play some Windjammers.
And they have a racing minigame too, which also sucks because the AI is super rubber bandy.
I bet those turn physics are shit.
Like the crew.
The secret is that they're rubber bandy until the last lap in which I suddenly decided to play ball.
Wow, it really is like the crew.
Yep.
That's amazing.
And then there's a rhythm game as well, because God knows we need a rhythm game in here as well, called Ice Cream Beat.
God came down to Tetsuya Nomura and said, "Yo, put a fucking rhythm game in that shit." And he went, "Yo, God, sure."
The way it works is that it's a rhythm game, so you time it right, and then you shoot ice cream at Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and you get points based on how precisely you shoot ice cream at them.
This is an RPG, right?
Yes, this is an RPG.
You know what? I was actually
really like this game. I want to make that clear. Because there's a lot of stupid things in here.
Can you beat the game without touching any of that shit?
Yes.
Okay, then.
Alright, we're back on track.
And the actual core game is really fun.
Yeah.
Like, the biggest, like, twist they have on the Kingdom Hearts formula is that instead of, like, having magic spells that cost MP and then the MP recharges over time, the way it works is that you have a commands deck of up to 8 commands that you gather on your adventures. And when you execute one, instead of it going away, there's a brief cooldown before you can reuse it. So you can cycle through these commands and use them depending on the situation as you see fit. And then you can change your deck as you find more commands and get stronger and stronger over the course of the game. And you can even fuse commands and imbue them with abilities. That's how you actually learn abilities in this game, is not through leveling up. It's by using crystals during fusion to pass abilities onto your commands so that you can learn them by mastering those commands. And it actually sounds complex, but it's really really intuitive.
This is like our League of Legends discussion we had earlier. I was just fucking...
It sounds complex, but it's really you learn in about 10 minutes.
This was probably something that it'd be easier to see it done in practice as opposed to trying to explain it.
Yeah. And every character has their own different types of commands. Like Terra, again, like I said, he specializes in earth and darkness. Ventus specializes in wind and light, and he's much faster than Terra and good at both magic and physical attacks. Whereas Aqua is the mage of the group. She really can't take a hit that well, but her dodge move gives her almost infinite vulnerability frames, and you just keep spamming it until you're open, and she has the strongest moves in the game because of her magic. And it's interesting the way they all play separately, even though they all feel different, even though they're essentially all controlled the exact same. And the story is pretty dark for a Kingdom Hearts game.
Yeah, I've heard the endings are not... This is not really happy endings.
All 3 protagonists have horrible fates.
Well, that sucks.
That's what you'd expect, because, I mean, this takes place 10 years before Kingdom Hearts 1, and no one has mentioned any of these characters in any of the Kingdom Hearts games.
Yeah.
Although, Terra was a secret boss in Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, if I remember correctly. Yes. But he's not part of the main story.
Not Terra himself, his lingering sentiment imbued in his armor.
Oh, God, that's getting into that now.
I'd rather not. No, don't explain this.
It's
actually simpler to explain.
It's like Destiny. Just don't explain it.
Nope.
Just keep shooting them.
The original Master Xehanort possessed Terra's body, and that's why we have the main villain that we have.
Didn't that happen in the trailer at the end of 2? When everybody thought that was Kingdom Hearts 3?
Yeah.
For more info,
that didn't happen exactly, but that scene is the first part of the finale of Birth by Sleep.
For more info, go to Bungie.net.
That'd be great with the Bungie.net. There was Birth by Sleep info.
And Xehanort took control of his body and his heart, but his mind was still really pissed off at the idea of being possessed, and went into his armor and then started trying to kick his ass.
Okay.
Video games.
This is a video game.
You want to keep talking about Saya Utu instead?
No, don't.
Take your choice. We got Kingdom Hearts, Saya, and Destiny. What great story discussions.
I could go on, but I think that's a bad idea.
I think my brain hurts.
Saya, Destiny, fucking Kingdom Hearts, or League of Legends, just trying to explain each and every one of those.
There is a 50-minute video by Game Showers that kind of summarizes the Kingdom Hearts lore in a way that kind of sort of makes sense. I might link that in the show notes. But yeah, it's an interesting series. They all play really well, but the story after Kingdom Hearts 1 got very, very convoluted.
Yeah.
And with that...
I think we're done.
I think so as well.
'Cause I was mentally...
Does anyone have anything they want to promote aside from the obvious thing that Sam and I are doing right now? Interactive friction.
I got a new website because my old URL is lost to the legal hells of the internet. Yeah, fuck it. I gave up on it. So you can go to... I don't have like a subdomain anymore, so now you can just go to emptyskybox.com and go check out my website.
Nice.
I wrote a new thing about some games you should play from 2014.
And I wrote a piece talking about some of the plot holes in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Well, do I have to understand the plot to read that?
No.
That might be a problem.
No, I mentioned the three central premises that I'm talking about, so you don't have to know the whole plot to know them. No.
Okay, just so I know.
And that's something that's getting a bit more traction because now that Kingdom Hearts 3 has been announced that maybe it's coming out this year, it's all been topical.
That's not confirmed, man. That's...
I said maybe.
Wait, what's confirmed? Windjammer?
No!
What?
I'm ending this.
Make the rounds on the internet.
So, did you do anything that you want to promote this week, Chris, Garrett?
Not a damn thing.
Not really, no.
Destiny, though.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? In addition to running my website, I would literally say buy, or not buy, just fucking check out Sayana Uta. Just look at a picture and just tweet me what you think about it, and I'll tell you about my experience.
Now, before we sign off, I think I should
play
spend
that
the
game.
next 50 minutes explaining in detail the entire lore of Kingdom Hearts.
I'm gonna kill you.
No,
I'm gonna murder you.
Good
So
night,
Kingdom
guys.
Hearts
I'm
1,
gonna fucking...
Sora, the Disney princesses,
Good night, everybody.
the Hall,
Good night.
Later, taters.
Traverse